What's good, Osiris here? We got a little spice for your life today, brought to you by Resident Brandon. Hopefully, everybody's doing well. Tuesday, getting through the week. And the theme for today is politicians pandering. And they are hilarious when they do it, man. They are so funny. Nobody who pays attention buys it, but, most people are not paying attention. I got a little snack with me, some peanuts. I created a little bit of controversy before we get into, believe it or not, this is what I'm choosing for the headline today, just the mood. Whatever mood I'm in is basically what I go with. And I got peanuts here with me as a snack. It started a little bit of controversy yesterday. Even friend of show, Che from No Spoon Podcast had to chime in. I'm not surprised because I believe he's from California, or he's in California. And this is about In-N-Out. So before I get to Brandon and the pandering politicians, so my wife and I and I actually have a video on this channel about In-N-Out, a couple of them actually, but one about the actual food. They opened up an In-N-Out maybe a year or two ago by me, somewhat by me in Colorado, about an hour or 45 minutes away from me. And the lines were ridiculous. So I'll start with this topic before I get to Brandon. Thanks for stopping by. The lines for In-N-Out were ridiculous. Now, before that happened, my wife and I had gone to In-N-Out one time before. And it was in California. So we got basically the true experience of In-N-Out. And so we had it and we were kind of excited for it because everybody talks about In-N-Out and all that. Here's what it looked like. There was a video I did a while back, and here's the intro. This is why I did the video. I'm like, man, this In-N-Out opened up in Colorado, and everybody's like making this a big deal. So the food, it's got to be excellent, right? This is a video of an In-N-Out opening up in Colorado. There was a 12-hour wait, y'all. A 12-hour wait. This is, I don't know, 1 or 2 years ago. For In-N-Out. Like, this isn't Five Guys or Bad Daddy's. I don't know if you have any Bad Daddy's. Bad Daddy's has a great burger. I think Bad Daddy's is better than Five Guys. Five Guys has a great burger.
I really thought I was about to be the first one in the H.
These niggas was out here playing PlayStation in the parking lot the night before it opened up.
Get in and out, right? Now when you got niggas like this, they got shit connected to their car. That's the X one.
They connected somehow. They connected the X is the Xbox, actually. They connected the Xbox to the battery of the SUV, and they're out there in the parking lot the night before. This is for In-N-Out.
Hold up.
So that's what's going on over there.
Before you watch this clip, I want to make sure you're clear on what's happening here. Bruh, man, hooked up his Xbox and TV to his car battery while he's in line the night before In-N-Out opens up to get a burger that's no better than Wendy's. No, this seriously happened. I just want to make sure you know what this clip is. With a bottle of Henny.
I really thought I was about to be the first one in the A to get in and out, right? Now when you got niggas like this,
Yeah.
they got shit connected to their car.
Why is Resident Brandon our president? Because you got
And where's the Henny at?
niggas like this
yeah.
out in the parking
With the
lot
Henny.
with the Henny and the Xbox for.
You really thought I was gonna beat these niggas for in and out?
You are now watching Stuck in the Middle with those.
Oh, that's the old intro. That is, and then so here's what. So we had it, and my memory of In-N-Out was I actually liked the fries in California, and I thought the burger was equal to Wendy's. To me, the burger tastes exactly like the Wendy's patty, except they have a different sauce on it. Same exact taste to me. I actually like Wendy's. I think Wendy's has the best burger of these cheap fast food places. So yesterday, I took the kids because the kids keep asking, like they see there's a new one that popped up even closer to me. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, the kids keep seeing the long lines. They're like, oh, look, can we try it? We don't eat fast food that often. So we wait in line. It was actually a shorter line. The short line for In-N-Out's was probably 20 minutes, maybe 30, probably 20 minutes or so to get the burger. That's a short line. So I haven't had it in years. So we get home and I like fries. McDonald's has the best fries. So I start eating the fries. And in my head, I'm like, this is nasty as hell. What is this? This is what everybody's in line waiting for. The fries taste raw, too potatoey, and then greasy at the same time. And I rarely ever put salt on a fast food restaurant. I never put salt on. When you go eat out, they already got it salted well to over salted. The fries were unsalted, taste like potatoes, but not like good potatoes, like raw, nasty. I don't know what type of potatoes they got. And we got like 3 orders of the fries just in case. And I'm like, damn, there's no way I'm finishing these fries. Then I have the burger. It's okay. It's a small ass burger. I didn't even remember how small the burger was. First, I take the burgers out. My son's like, what is this? Like a slider? Like, he's like, this is a small burger. I'm like, it looks like a slider. Enjoy. And I guess the burger's okay, but I would have just rather went to Wendy's. I don't get it. I just don't diss to anybody. I just don't get the phenomenon. And then my stomach was like, bro, you should never do that again. And that's not an In-N-Out fault. I had that same thing with I don't eat as much fast food as I used to. When I eat burgers at a restaurant, that doesn't happen. I don't know what it is with these quick fast food places, if the food's real or what. But let's look at Brandon. Hopefully, let's test the audio. Okay, audio sounds good on my end here. And I didn't expect to go over this today. It was, every day is a different day. So I look at this. Actually, I think I saw it. No, actually, it was this morning. Wow. It was so long ago. It was 5:30 a.m. I saw this tweet here from Mr. Tom Elliott breaking down this interview. So what happened is there was an interview. You've got a lot going on in the country. So what do you think the president's going to release as an interview? Now, obviously, they planned this ahead of time, but you've got the financial crisis going on. One real hot topic right now is the First Amendment being destroyed right before our very eyes, from the domino voting systems lawsuit to just basically a continuation of the Alex Jones stuff that they did with him, and the stochastic stuff, and the FBI and the hearing, and they're saying, oh, these FBI whistleblowers aren't real whistleblowers. What? You didn't say that about the Facebook or the others. These journalists, Matt Taibbi, Michael Schellenberger, they're not real journalists. The J6 footage, we're still getting that. That's still big in the news. We've got a lot of stuff going. That's just not to mention that there's a war going on that's escalating overseas, and the propaganda rags here in America are saying that the sunflower country is running out of troops. You might want to pay attention to that if you are of fighting age. You've got for loved ones of fighting age, you might want to pay attention to what the Washington Post is saying about them running out of troops. So what happens? They release an interview with Joe Brandon and Kumar. What? I would have said, nah, just hold on to that interview. I don't need it. I'm good. It's just not a good time right now. In fact, just don't even release it. The Daily Show lands resident Brandon interview with guest host Carl Penn. And I think he's Kumar. Wasn't he Kumar from Harold and Kumar? Like, remember that scene when they went to White Castle? That's what I kind of thought of when I saw this. And I also watched Designated Survivor, which was not a great show, but not a bad one. I watched some of it because it had my dude Kiefer from 24 on it. But he was decent in that. But Kumar sat down with Brandon, and they kind of have a good relationship because he was actually in the White House with Obama. So he was Kumar Harold. He's arguably best known, and he's taken turns hosting the show, the Daily Show. I still say Chelsea Handler is my choice, but I didn't see Marlon. I didn't see much clips from Marlon or Leslie Jones. I didn't even know Leslie Jones was doing it, but now it's Penn's turn. And he's known best for Harold and Kumar, House. I forgot he was on House. He was good in everything I've seen him in. I like him as an actor. He's just goofy, kind of awkward, funny. House was a great show. Any House fans here? Man, I that's one of those shows I just binge through. They got the same format basically every show. You just binge, binge, binge. Designated survivor. He spent 2+ years serving, I didn't know this, in the public engagement arm of the Obama administration. So they were kind of comfortable, and you could see they were kind of comfort. They said the comfort level was very high. So they got this interview, and what's going on? We got a lot going on. What are we going to talk about? What are you going to release? What are you going to let Comedy Central release? Oh, draft age is Albert Speer. Albert Speer is like, hold up, bro. Draft age is 17 to 45. Okay. I got a bone spur, bro. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going no damn where. That's not, don't even worry about it. To where? Are you out of your goddamn mind? No, I'm not talking to you, Albert. I appreciate the information. I didn't even know what the age stuff was. So I am right at the edge of that fighting age. I don't care if I was 18. I'm not, nah. I identify as a woman. I ain't going. I watch them backtrack on that stuff too. All of a sudden, nah, we know what a woman is now. We know the difference. Y'all gonna have to take this M16 and go on overseas to fight who? Where? For what? Why? I wish you would. I ain't going no damn where to fight for who? For what? Thanks for that clarification, though. But looking at this interview, so you got all that stuff going in the background. What are you going to talk about when you're in an interview that just came out? Of course, we're going to talk about the alphabet mafia. There's nothing more important, it seems like, in the world other than the LGBTQ or whatever else.
Every auntie and uncle that I have is beyond disappointed that there hasn't been a wedding yet. But Cardi B is going to marry us, apparently officiate our wedding, which would be nice. But my question for you, Mr. President, is you codified...
Is he gay? I had no idea. I don't care. I didn't even look it up. I really don't care.
Support for same-sex marriage and interracial marriages like ours. I'm curious what your evolution was like on marriage equality and what the federal government might be able to do to protect LGBTQ Americans, especially trans kids who are dealing with all these regressive state laws that are popping up right now.
That's an opinion.
I can remember exactly where my epiphany was.
Okay.
I hadn't thought much about it, to tell you the truth, and I was a senior in high school, and my dad was dropping me off, and I remember about to get out of the car, and I looked to my right, and two well-dressed men in suits kissed each other. I mean, they gave each other a kiss. And then one looked like he was heading to the DuPont building, and one looked like he headed to the Hercules Corporation building. And I'll never forget, I turned and looked at my dad. He said, Joey, it's simple. They love each other. It's simple. No, I'm not joking. It's simple. They love each other. And it's never been, it's never been, it's just that simple. It doesn't matter whether it's same-sex or a heterosexual couple. They should be able to be married. What is the problem? So listen to your auntie and your uncle. Get married. Do it now. Don't wait. Transgender kids is a really harder thing. What's going on in Florida is, as my mother would say, close to sinful. I mean, it's just terrible what they're doing. It's not like, a kid wakes up one morning and says, I decided I want to become a man, or I want to become a woman, or I want to change. I mean, what are they thinking about here? They're human beings. They love, they have feelings, they have inclinations that are, it just, to me, is, I don't know, it's cruel. And the way we do it is we make sure we pass legislation like we passed on same-sex marriage. You mess with that, you're breaking the law, and you're going to be held accountable.
Thank you, sir. I also can tell that, some auntie or my mom probably texted you beforehand
No.
This is so Biden says that he found an epiphany when he was a senior in high school. He was born in 1942. So we're looking at about 59, 60, 1959, 1960. Here's Joe Biden, and I believe this is he was vice president, so it had to be 2008 or later. This is Joe Biden.
I can't believe the American people can't see through this. We already have a law, the Defense of Marriage Act, where we've all voted, not where I voted and others said, look, marriage is between a man and a woman, and states must respect that. Nobody's violated that law. There's been no challenge to that law. Why do we need a constitutional amendment? Marriage is between a man and a woman. What's the game going on here?
Do you support gay marriage?
No, Barack Obama nor I support redefining from a civil side what constitutes marriage. We do not support that.
I can't believe the American people can't see.
So it's clear as day that I guess you can have an epiphany and then change your mind in between there. That's why you see these people go on with goofballs like Kumar from Harold and Kumar. I think he was Kumar, right? Obviously, I think he's Kumar. I don't know them that well. So you go on with Harold and Kumar. Basically, why didn't you just have the interview in a White Castle? That would have been very appropriate. On Comedy Central, no less. So you have this, Kumar is an actor. So he was in the White House, but he's not an interviewer. And obviously he's friendly to the president, so you're not going to have any kind of questions or not even pushback. Just, what happened in '08 then? It's just funny to see these people pander. And we go back to 59. What was the world like in 59? People went back and they were looking at this story and they're saying, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't sound right.
To protect LGBT.
It sounds like pandering. And I don't believe the story, but I don't blame anyone who doesn't believe the story. It's just not believable.
Trans kids who are dealing with all these regressive state laws that are popping up right now.
I can remember exactly where my epiphany was.
Okay.
I hadn't thought much about it, to tell you the truth. And I was a senior in high school, and my dad was dropping me off. I remember about to get.
So your dad's dropping you off, senior in high school. People are like, okay, that's somewhat unusual, but it could happen. There's no problem there. But he's going to a school.
Out of the car, and I looked to my right.
So he gets out of the car. It sounds like he's by the school.
And two well-dressed men in suits kissed each other.
Two well-dressed men in suits kissed each other.
I mean, they gave each other a kiss. And then one looked like he was heading to the DuPont building, and one looked like he headed to the Hercules Corporation building. And I'll never forget, I turned and looked at my dad. He said, Joey, it's simple. They love each other. It's simple. No, I'm not joking. It's simple. They love each other. And
the story could be true. Who knows? It's just not believable when you go back and look at it. So I had some replies, and when this is the unfortunate thing in our country, which is this was despicable, but in very often homosexuality was kind of criminalized. And back then, we're talking about 59. And to my knowledge, Brandon's father was Irish Catholic. You really think an Irish Catholic in 59 was like that? I mean, it could have happened, but he doesn't have a good track record. The Democrats don't have a good track record. They like to pander. It's just not, you're trying too hard, y'all. And I had a lot of questions. My first question was, were these the two men that he popped up out of the car and saw kissing? If you're just listening, it's no longer friends of show, Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan. I just don't know. Maybe it was them. It could have been them that he saw when he got out the car in 59. It could have been them kissing him. All for it, if that's the case. It could have been a lot of different people. It could have been these two alleged men kissing back in 59 when he got out of the car. They don't have a good track record. I'm going to go to a bunch of the different things that Brandon has gone through in his career, and then also Kamala as well, where it's just so funny how hard they try to pander. So Joe Biden didn't want his children to grow up in a racial jungle, But his father was okay with two men in a suit kissing, making out, and do whatever they were doing out in front of a school. Is that the story that we going with? You remember when Hillary Clinton famously on The Breakfast Club, they get in trouble on The Breakfast Club. 3 of the clips I have are from The Breakfast Club. Why is that? Because if you want to pander to black people, where do you go? The Breakfast Club. And Hillary Clinton had one of the best pandering moments ever. She is so boss and savage. Tell me this wasn't sexy at the end where she just admitted it when she said, "Oh yeah, hot sauce in my bag." This is Brandon's LGBT version of hot sauce in my bag.
No more questions? They said no, she has to go.
What's something that you always carry with you?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you getting information right now?
Hot sauce.
Hot sauce in my bag, swag?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yes.
Now listen, I
yes.
just want you to know people are going to see this and say, okay, she's pandering to black people again.
Okay. Is it working?
She's savage, man. She wasn't joking. She was not laughing. She was like, I went on this show with y'all Negroes to tell me how to pander to black people, and you are kind of trying to highlight me pandering to black people? Let me know if it's working. That's the same thing Brandon just did with that story about Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors making out in 1959. It's just pandering to LGBTQ the same way they do to black people. Hey, Hillary, Hillary said that she traveled with hot sauce in her bag. She literally said this. When they go on The Breakfast Club, the end of the show when they're wrapping up seems to be a problematic issue. They were talking about, hey, she's got to go. Just like remember Brandon, oh, I got to go. That's because they don't stay too long. Hey, I got to go.
They said no, she has to go.
What's something that you always carry with you?
Hot sauce.
There's an awkward pause after she says hot sauce, and you look at Angela Yee, and her face tells it all. And Hillary's like, "Wait, why your face look like that? I thought y'all Negroes liked hot sauce." What was wrong, Hillary? You couldn't pick watermelon and fried chicken? Why'd you go to hot sauce? And I do like hot sauce. I do like fried chicken and watermelon. But why are you pandering to black people like this? Look at the face. It's so awkward.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
It was so awkward that Charlemagne, his neck snapped back.
Yeah.
Really? Are you getting information right now?
He said, are you getting information right now? Yes, she was. How long before Brandon gets on TV and says, you ain't LGBTQ unless you vote for me?
Long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more.
If you have questions about if Brandon's story is true, just
questions,
wait.
but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Then you ain't
Long
LGBT.
way until November. We got.
Then you ain't LGBTQIP2SA plus. These politicians are hilarious, man, with no shame, too. You saw Hillary. This is what I loved about the Hillary clip. Hillary is like, yeah, was it working? Is it working?
Okay. Is it working?
You know, that's kind of like if you were trying to hot spit game at a girl and, you know, everybody knows you got one liner, you're trying to spit game, and she might be like, okay, you just doing this lame one liner. You might be like, yeah, is it working?
Okay. Is it working?
Another awkward pause, and the only person laughing is Hillary.
Okay. Is it working?
That was so awkward. That last pause was more awkward than the first one. Hillary went off on there pandering, and you know one of the biggest panderers to black people is Kamala. Oh, man, she's one of the worst.
Kamala Harris, who, by the way, is the ex-girlfriend of Montel Williams and will be described that way forever after on this show, wants you to know that she's totally authentic. She's just real. She's not some typical out-of-touch politician. She's so real. She listened to Snoop Dogg and Tupac back in the early 80s before either one of them...
Who could forget that famous rapper, rest in peace, I wasn't the biggest fan, but the living legend Tupac. Do you like Tupac? Tupac, when Tupac dropped All Eyes on Me, that was a classic. That one was a classic. What's your favorite Tupac song? Hit 'em Up? Ambitious as a rider. Which one? What's your favorite? California Love? What? Dear Mama was a dope. That was a pop song from Tupac. I'm making fun of Tucker, but I pronounce names. You know I mess up names easier than Tupac.
Montel Williams, and will be described that way forever after on this show, wants you to know that she's totally authentic. She's just real. She's not some typical out-of-touch politician. She's so real. She listened to Snoop Dogg and Tupac back in the early 80s before either one of them even made music. That's how real she is. She listened to tunes that didn't even exist. But recently, one of Kamala Harris's realest moments has been getting unwanted attention. According to Kamala Harris, when she was a young child, she attended a civil rights march. Of course she did, in Oakland, needless to say. And during that march, she was so focused on the liberation then in progress, she somehow became separated from her parents. She was in a stroller. Here's what Kamala Harris says happened next.
When were you out there protesting?
Well, I was in a stroller. And so I was out there. And in fact, my mother used to have a very funny story about I was fussing and she said, Kamala, what do you want? And I said, and this is how she would say it. And she said, Kamala, what do you want? And I said, freedom.
No.
Freedom. She said she's been protesting since she was in a stroller and told her mama, and mama asked her, what do you want? She said, freedom. These people think you and I are just straight up asshats.
She just wanted freedom, or she said, freedom. Which is funny because both of Kamala Harris's parents were immigrants from other countries who came here because when they arrived in the 60s, it was a totally free country. There was no Jim Crow, actually. Kamala Harris didn't grow up under anything like that. She grew up in a country that's freer and more equal than the one we live in now. But whatever. Kamala Harris made the same.
So Kamala Harris, to my knowledge, her mom was Indian and her father was Jamaican. And my ancestry is through Jamaica. It's interesting with parents of that ancestry that she would come here and be so into Kwanzaa.
Growing up, Kwanzaa was always a special time. We came together with generations of friends and family and neighbors. There were never enough chairs, so my sister and I and the other children would often sit on the floor, and together we lit the candles of the Kinara, and then the elders would talk about how Kwanzaa is a time to celebrate culture, community, and family. And they, of course, taught us about the 7 principles. My favorite principle was always the second, Kujichagulia, self-determination, the power to design your own life and determine your own future. And it is a deeply American principle, one that guides me every day as Vice President.
To everyone celebrating, we hope your week is filled with love and light. From our family to yours, happy Kwanzaa.
Growing up, Kwanzaa.
I know, being a politician is not for everybody. You got to just flat out lie. You don't have to. I don't know why. That's why people like Trump when he came on the scene. For the most part, he didn't feel like he was lying. You ask Trump if he ever heard of Kwanzaa, he'd be like, I don't know what the hell that is. How do you pronounce it again? And that was refreshing. Because nobody believes, Kamala, that you celebrated Kwanzaa growing up. Like, nobody. I don't even know anybody who ever's, I don't think I know anybody who's ever, like, fully celebrated Kwanzaa like that. I've heard people talk about it a little bit. I think it was coming up it was created way before the 90s, but it was getting popular in the 90s a little bit. But I don't know anybody who was lighting candles and all that. We talked about it maybe at school. I talked about it in the music lessons. I don't know, man. I think if you I don't want to give ideas to the Democratic Party, but I think if they come out with somebody who is just more real, even if their ideas are as evil as Gavin Newsom or Brandon or Kamala, who really don't have their own ideas, they just follow like Justin Trudeau, they follow the Queen, the Borg Queen, whatever the download is, they do. I think if they just find someone, even with that poisonous ideology, if they find someone who just keeps it real, it's hard. It would be hard to beat them. I don't know why they just don't do that. They need somebody who would say, like, yeah, I grew up, I ain't celebrate no Kwanzaa. Happy Kwanzaa, but I ain't celebrate that. Nothing against anybody who did, but I didn't. It would be refreshing from the Democratic side. And I think that's what they need right now. They need to stop this pandering. It's just, their pandering is so awkward. Everybody does. Trump does and all. Every politician panders, but it's just a matter of how awkward and cringe is it. And that's just beyond the pale. And that wasn't even the whole clip on that. With the pandering on this. They went on, pandered. You heard them about the trans issue. They were going on climate and the weather. I mean, he was pandering on all the major topics in this interview. And I think they just need somebody who will keep their warped ideology if that's what they want, but then just be real with people. No fake laughter. I don't think they have a person like that right now. So that's what they need. I'm basically saying it doesn't even have to be as controversial as Trump. I think if you bring somebody who's real, that side would rally. And that's where Hakeem Jeffries, if I were Hakeem Jeffries making a move, I would make a move. I believe the whole cabal of this fake corporate global type religion of wokeism, and I'll believe all that. And he's a ladder climber, so he'll believe whatever he needs to, and then keep it real to a certain extent. That's what I would do if I were Jamal Bowman. If I was one of these ladder climbers that just want to climb the ladder, damn any type of morals or anything like that, that's what I would do. So Brandon, I actually have a drop here. Brandon said that he was open to, back in 59 as a high school senior, he was fine with two guys in suits kissing. But why did he call black kids roaches?
By the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
I don't know if there's a creepier end. This is like Jeffrey Marsh level of creepiness here at the end of this video clip.
About kids jumping on my lap.
Listen to his voice change. This is dark. It almost like he transformed back. It looked like he transformed from political Joe into real Joe.
I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
He transformed, and then he snapped. You saw him. He snapped right back. He was like, "Ooh, I got back out of character."
And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
And then he.
And by the way,
So that's a hell of a transformation, B. That you went from embracing these two men that were going to do the business right there in front of your school to roaches, little black kids all around you like little roaches. That is what he said.
Blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down.
He talked about kids rubbing his hairy blonde legs in the sun.
So it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned.
This is unedited. I know there's a lot of deep fakes going on. This is not a deep fake. Rush Limbaugh used to play this clip.
Again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids.
He said it nonchalantly, too. Imagine if somebody nowadays came out and said, yeah, you talk about black kids? Oh, yeah, I know about roaches.
They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping.
Who taught you about roaches? Who's a roach?
I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap.
Oh.
And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
See, I think the problem is he can't be honest. We're talking about honesty with politicians because then he would have to be Pedo Joe. He would have to run on the platform of liking that. I don't even want to repeat what he said because they don't even sound right. These people are wild, man. They just out in the open, and they believe that their base is just robotic and will just go with whatever they want them to. That's why they do that kind of stuff. Man. Dylan Mulvaney was on. She was on with Drew Barrymore. And they had an interesting interview. Myth-informed MKE. I have not celebrated the return of myth-informed MKE. Just what do I mean by that? That's just one of my favorite accounts. Was banned. And props to E. Grateful for E for bringing myth-informed MKE back. Great to see, because it's hard to follow people when they're not on Twitter, when that's the major platform. And he posted this clip of Drew Barrymore. I'm going to let it go for 3 minutes, then we'll react.
Let me ask you about the negativity. How have you dealt with it? And what's an approach you take? What's your self-talk? What do you filter?
Yes.
How do you...
I still read the comments, but there is so much hatred directed at the trans community right now. It's everywhere. And I think the greatest weapon that I can contribute is trans joy and comedy and talking about hard, subjects and really intricate moments of a transition, and try to let everybody in to see that, I'm not a monster. I'm not somebody that, is trying to do anything but be myself and be happy. Love ya.
Thank you, everybody, for that support. How do you stay on your own path? Where do you draw boundaries? Where do you find the strength to keep being the joy?
Well, I think having my chosen family and the people that I love to take care of me. But I also think there's something just about making sure that you don't put something out there before you're ready, and really just surrounding yourself with good people. It's interesting because I look at someone like you and I can't imagine anybody disliking you.
Oh, please. Do you want to know, ironically, who dislikes me the most sometimes?
Who?
Myself.
Oh, me too. Oh. But I guess, you've asked me now, you've asked me, what I would do to combat the hate, right?
Yeah.
But what do you do?
Okay, that's a great question. Now, I started...
You've been doing it a little longer than I have.
Well, it's funny because when I was a kid, starting with E.T., it was the first time I was introduced to film reviews, which are basically social media.
Yes.
But I felt like all these reviews, and it could be a Charlie's Angels, it could be an E.T., it could be The Wedding Singer, everything in between. If you read reviews, just like on social media, you are pretty much guaranteed a 50-50. Some like it, some don't. So you've got to be willing to bear down and brace for it. And I think
picking your battles too.
Yes.
And sometimes I think the greatest response can just be in the next joyous video or in the next win that you have, because that just goes to show that you are continuing on, and whatever that those people are projecting onto you, it isn't actually penetrating.
I couldn't agree more, because another thing that you're making me realize is to not carry on in spite of others.
I'm sorry, I just realized that I'm sitting on the floor with Drew.
I'm so happy to be doing this. Thank you for joining me on the floor. The floor always feels safe.
Was that an edit at the end? That was kind of awkward. Let me bring it back.
Others.
I'm sorry, I just realized that I'm sitting on the floor with Drew. And whatever that those people are projecting onto you, it isn't actually penetrating.
I couldn't agree more, because another thing that you're making me realize is to not carry on in spite of others.
I'm sorry, I just realized that I'm sitting on the floor with Drew.
I'm so happy to be doing this. Thank you for joining me on the floor. The floor always feels safer.
It feels nice.
That was an awkward ending. I did not see a cut there. I don't know if the producer said something, or I don't think Dylan had an earpiece in. That was really weird. So let's just, to me, Dylan, I don't have any beef, man. I want to de-escalate. Before I come back and react to this, we need a de-escalation. Seriously, ASAP. Somebody needs to help de-escalate. So I'm not going to be in the other live. I was talking about defense. I'm not going to be dwelling on that. I do not want to glamorize that because that's a two-way street and that's a bad. We don't want to have to go down that path. So let's figure out a peaceful path. I don't have any beef with Dylan. Why would I have beef with Dylan? It's more ideology. But let me go back. I actually do not have problems with much of what happened here. I don't agree with this whole philosophy, but it was actually a good discussion. There was one part that really rubbed me the wrong way, though. If we want peace, this has to stop. That's where we come to the table and say, okay, how does peace happen? We need a damn summit. We don't need Dylan Mulvaney going to the White House to talk about trans rights. We don't need that right now. There are no rights that trans people don't have that other people have. Stop that nonsense. I'm fine with a summit. Let's bring a summit together and even put Matt Walsh on it with Dylan Mulvaney and make it very targeted. This ain't about beef. This is about how do we proceed peacefully. That's what it's about. This ain't about name calling. This ain't about you agree with this or it's about how do we proceed peacefully because that is not the path we are on right now. That's the type of summit I want to see. Actually, myth-informed MKE is the type of person that would do that. Have left, right, libertarian, whatever, on a panel. He's done the, what do they call them? I forgot the name of the panels that Nico House has been on, Polsabek, others, really good stuff. But we need summits, and that should be the focus. That's it. I know there's going to be beef and arguing, but the point has to stay. How do we proceed with peace? Period. And here's my biggest problem with this clip is the beginning part.
Let me ask you about the negativity. How have you dealt with it? And what's an approach you take? What's your self-talk? What do you filter?
Yes.
How do you...
I still read the comments.
She interrupts a lot. I don't like that. But that's a good question by Drew. And maybe if you're not used to interviewing, it's easy to interrupt too often, whether you're the interviewee or the interviewer, but the interviewee can say whatever they want. But this is a good question. Very good question by Drew.
Let me ask you about the negativity. How have you dealt with it? And what's an approach you take? What's your self-talk? What do you filter?
Yes.
That is an agender question or topic. Has nothing to do with someone being trans or not. You're talking to somebody who I guess they identify as trans or they are trans. I don't even know these things anymore. It's so crazy. But you're talking to somebody who's in that realm, but the question is very generic. It could apply to you. It could apply to me. Even if you don't have like a big social media presence, if you do comment on anything, people can comment to you. So it applies to damn near everybody. Unless you really don't comment at all on anything, if you say one comment, even if you say, hey, I think Drew Barry looks good, there's people who could reply and say, I think she looked better or whatever. Any comment could have feedback that could kind of mess with you. So let's hear what Dylan says to this.
I still read the comments, but there is so much hatred directed at the trans community right now. It's everywhere. And I think the greatest weapon that I can contribute is trans joy and comedy and talking about hard, subjects and really intricate moments of a transition and try to let everybody in to see that, I'm not a monster. I'm not somebody that, is trying to do anything but be myself and be happy.
So that's replying to some of the criticism for people saying that Dylan is cosplaying. There's a lot of good in that answer. I wish I could talk to Dylan on some real talk.
Happy.
There's a lot of good there, but I have a concern with a couple things here. The hatred for trans community, what does that mean?
I still read the comments, but there is so much hatred directed at the trans community right now. It's everywhere.
What does that mean? I need to get more specific. I need more specifics on what's the hatred towards the trans community. Trans identity is not some magical immunity from hatred. Anybody that is a part of nature, people love, they get sad, they get mad, they get frustrated, they hate each other. Oh, you know what else happens? Trans people hate other people too. I don't understand what that means, hatred towards the trans community. And I say that same thing to the Black D Blacks. So I don't switch it up at all. What does that mean? I need you to be more specific. Trans people can get hated on, period. I'm not saying that's good. I'm not saying I want that, but that is a part of life. So I'm tired of hearing this term because where it goes is stochastic. Oh, you criticize. So I say, Jeffrey Marsh, I don't like that you didn't speak out against the comedian who was getting the threats against her children or whatever. You don't have to do anything, but I can say I don't like how you've handled it. And now they can say, Jeffrey Marsh can say, oh, that's hatred towards this community. We got to narrow this down. We got to get more comfortable with this idea of hate. There's plenty of people who hate me. Okay, what? As long as you're not breaking a law, it is what it is. And we got to get past that. Because to me, it sounds like you want some type of special treatment. People can hate you. People can be bigoted towards you. People can be racist towards me. That's not illegal. So that's the first part. The second question is, okay, you say that people hate you. Give us an example. If we're going to work this out and kind of continue on, number one, we have to understand it is impossible to eradicate hate. I don't know, because y'all believe you can switch genders. So I'm wondering if y'all believe you can eradicate hate from the world. It's the same type of thought. You can't do it. So your journey to do that is your journey to try to be God. And we got to stop that. So my question, Dylan, to try to keep it on topic, to keep it productive, my question for you, Dylan, is how can somebody disagree with your lifestyle? Or how can somebody disagree with you? How can somebody criticize you and it not be categorized as hate? Give me some examples, please. That's what I need. Because if somebody has a religious belief and they don't believe in, and it doesn't have to be a religious belief. They just don't believe in critical gender theory. Michael Knowles was attacked recently for saying transgenderism needs to be eradicated. Obviously, when he says ism, he's talking about an idea. Just like you all think MAGA-ism should be eradicated. So he's not talking about people getting eradicated, you idiots. So I guess that's not going to work for peace. Let me retract the idiot comment. We're gonna have peace by me calling you an idiot. No, just letting the frustrations out. Help me understand how Michael Knowles is perfectly within his right to have his opinion for whatever reason he wants to have it. How do we proceed peacefully? Making sure that there's no violence, no advocation of violence. Is that national divorce? What did it? I mean, that's my answer, but I don't know what your answer is. And how can Michael Knowles have his opinion there without hate? Or do you just define it as hate no matter what? Because what's happening here is your beliefs here are a religion. And historically, a lot of battles are fought over religions as the core of it. And we'll play a clip here where they talk about the one world government and how they acknowledge and they know man needs a religion. Regardless of if you believe in God or not, man needs a religion. Your religion might be atheism. You're going to have a religion. That's just the nature of humans. So what she's saying here to me, because there's a lot of good stuff after that. What she's saying to me is that my religion, if you don't agree with my religion, you are hateful. And we've got to be able to break through that. That's not the way, we can't go forward like that. That's the problem I have with some people that protect and gatekeep the Jewish faith. No. People can criticize. You are not immune. Christians, you are not immune. One of the things that I would say for Christians, especially the Christians nationalists or the Christian authoritarian types, is if you had a Christian authoritarian world, then you could potentially go back to homosexuality being illegal. If that happened, for example, I would be on YouTube saying, Christian authoritarians, I'm not with you. I don't understand why you're trying to pry into other people's lives. Believe what you believe and let people be heathens or whatever you think. They might think you're a heathen. Some Christians are the most heathens. So it's just a religion. That's all it is. We need to categorize it. Maybe we need to categorize it officially. I don't know. Is there official religions? We need this to be categorized, because I think if you looked at it as a religion, then you would look at the response to it differently. And we're getting to that point where, because I didn't play the clip again, but Brandon was talking about all these states that are doing laws. He said it's sinful to not allow children. I might actually go back to that. I'm going to go back to that, actually, because this is an important note about, I think, how to proceed. I think this is on here, too. Let me look it up. Okay, here it is. He said what's going on in Florida is close to sinful about here.
I would say close to sinful. I mean, it's just terrible. Trans, it's never been look like you have to the Hercules Corporation building. And I never
I'm going to find where Kumar asked the question.
Their kids is a really harder day.
Okay.
What is the problem? So listen to your auntie and your uncle. Get married. Do it now. Don't wait. Transgender kids is a really harder thing. What's going on in Florida is, as my mother would say, close to sinful. I mean, it's just terrible what they're doing. It's not like, you know, a kid wakes up one morning and says, you know, I decided I want to become a man, or I want to become a woman, or I want to change. I mean, what are they thinking about here? They're human beings. They love, they have feelings, they have inclinations that are, I mean, it just, to me, is, I don't know, it's cruel. And the way we do it is we make sure we pass legislation like we passed on same-sex marriage.
No, that's not how we do it. That's not how we do it peacefully. So you heard Brandon say, if you don't allow these gender-affirming care, procedures, surgeries, that type of stuff, it's almost sinful. The problem that we're having here is that we're not breaking the issue down to the core, so we have consistency. We're letting Brandon and others, and Dylan Mulvaney and others, use their sense of morals in one aspect and then ignore it in the other. We need consistency. The issue with gender-affirming care, and this is feedback for the Matt Walshes and everybody, and many people in the chat might disagree with this take here. The problem is this. I've talked about this before. At its core, the gender-affirming care issue is exactly the same as, do I get to take the procedure for the pandemic, the drug that begins with the letter I? Or do I have to be forced to take a medical procedure to keep my job? It's the same discussion. Or do I get to abort my fetus? It's the same discussion, but what we allow is for these people, these pandering politicians, to make it seem like they're different issues. They're not different issues. If a parent and a child and a doctor agree on a medical procedure, as demonic as you think it ain't none of your business, because the guardian agreed to it. Stay the hell out of it. That goes to Matt Walsh. You know, I like Matt Walsh a lot. And people in the chat, not that I'm against you, but we gotta get forcefully. I'm trying to figure out, how do we move ahead peacefully? When you talk about aborting fetuses, I don't give a damn what your religion is. If a pregnant mother goes into a healthcare facility, hospital with a doctor, and they come out agreeing that they want to unlive their fetus, as demonic as you think that is, that ain't none of your business. That's the problem we're having. So you have people on the right, or, I hate using that stuff, but people who believe aborting fetuses. No. You can't do that. So you're getting into the doctor's room with a mother and a doctor. But when you look at taking a medical procedure, you don't want the doctor in the room with you if you need to take the Jabberwocky or not. It's the same core issue. I have fears, or I got caught with that coof, I'm going to a doctor. The doctor cannot force me to take any medical procedure. And if I go to work, Brandon tried to do this through OSHA to force you to take a needle in your shoulder to keep your job. It's the same problem as unliving fetuses, period. As demonic or whatever you want to think, you can't pick and choose these things. That's the road that always trends us towards conflict. Because these are not things you've got to decentralize. These are not decisions that you can leave up to the federal government peacefully. It just won't happen. You're talking about putting a needle in people's arms so they have a living. You can't leave that up to the federal government. It's just not, it can't work. So you got to take your emotions, your religion, your specific morals out of it. Your morals ain't Dylan's morals. Dylan's morals ain't my morals. We all are on a different spectrum of gay to straight to Christian to whatever else. Everybody's not in the same place. So you can believe, I believe unliving fetuses is not a good thing. Not something that I would want any woman that I'm involved with to be a part of. But at the end of the day, when the woman goes into the doctor, if the doctor says that's the right thing, or I agree with it, or I will do it, it ain't got nothing to do with me. It's no different than plastic surgery. If you go in and you want to get your nose job, then it ain't got nothing to do with me. If the nose job doesn't come out right, you're going to have to go sue. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Oh, well, I bought this product off of Amazon. It didn't work out. Oh, well, it's past the return date. That's an L. You just took an L. And you should have the right to say, I'm not taking this Jabberwocky, and if I unlive based on this pandemic, well, it's been a good life. Peace. That's my decision. I don't care anything about, I don't even care if it's a real vaccine. We're talking about something that they've renamed. It's not a traditional V. I don't even care if it's a real working V. It's still my choice. I don't care about if my germs would unlive you. If it's a real working V, then you go get it, and you should be fine, right? There is never a time to force a Jabberwocky into someone's body. There is never a time to say a parent and a child and a doctor can't do this procedure. Absolutely not. That's the problem we're having, to me. That's the core issue. So Brandon can say, oh, no. Don't get in the way, Florida or Iowa or whatever state. Don't get in the way of the gender affirming care. We don't want the government with federal government in the way. In fact, we want the federal government to protect that right. But then at the same time, he says, you got to take a Jabberwocky or you don't get to have a living with major corporations, or, there's a certain size with it or whatever, with certain parameters. So he can have both sides of the argument. That's the heart that we got to get to. And that tying it back to Dylan, and Dylan probably hasn't thought through these things like that, but that's what I would need, Dylan. I can be on your side with the gender affirming care stuff if you can be on my side with bodily autonomy, and I can be on your side legislatively on the pro-choice stuff. Maybe that wouldn't stop peace, because I know there's many people who are very hard fast on some of those issues, but I think right now we don't have cross coalitions on this type of thing. You would definitely have a more cross coalition of people on different spectrums with that, if you could break it down to its core issues. And that's the part that I feel I really think Dylan could be good in that realm.
About the negativity, how have you dealt with?
Because when you get past the initial trans hate, I just despise that term because of where they go with it and there's no clarification. But let's get past that and you see.
Hatred directed at the trans community right now. It's everywhere. And
Okay, let's get past that. That's a cringe moment and there's no clarification provided. Let's get past that and hear this part.
I think the greatest weapon that I can contribute is trans joy in comedy.
No lies detected. That's what I talked about with Andrew Schultz, and he had Daisy Taylor on. That's what that was. I don't know what she identifies as, but she's a biological male, and that was trans joy, you could argue. That's true. So what we're seeing is the response to what you call hate is not trans joy. So I need your help, Dylan, to, okay, even if you think there is hate out there, for your response to be trans joy. Even if you think MAGA or whoever it is, which is ridiculous, hates trans people, then you can say, MAGA, I don't hate you. We never hear that. Why don't we hear that? That's what we need to hear to break down this, oh, the trans identity is stuck with the Democratic Party and it hates these certain people. Or, yeah, you could say that both ways. I don't know if that's a fair thing to say, but it'll break down that stigma that we're seeing here.
And talking about hard, subjects and...
I don't like that. I don't know. What does that mean, talking about hard? You just have to clarify what that means.
Hard, subjects and really intricate moments of a transition and try to let everybody in.
Got no problem with that. Intricate moments of a transition. But here's the other part. If you are going to be a biological male selling tampons, you're going to have to absorb these jokes. I don't know what to tell. If we can't laugh at each other, and even if you think it's hateful, you can laugh at me. You can't be a biological man, get an award for women, and not get these jokes. It's just not possible. So you can't label. We've got to be able to laugh at each other. There's no way forward without that. Period. So I want to hear that too. I want to hear, oh, I'm going to do this. And I believe she did. So if she didn't, then whatever. But I believe Dylan and Jeffrey March both got deals with tampon companies, I guess. So I want to hear Dylan say, yeah, if people want to make fun of that, that's fine. It's not always necessarily hate. We can laugh at each other. It's not that deep. That's going towards Blair White. Blair White is more kind of open to those type of things. If we had more of that approach, then I think we'd be better off.
And to see that, I'm not a monster. I'm not somebody that, is trying to do anything but be myself and be happy.
So it sounds good. And that's the appeal to emotion. It's a very powerful thing, and it's something that the corporate people and the populist left do way better than anybody else. Libertarians don't play to anybody's emotions. I don't play to maybe a little bit, but not very well. I'm like an android. If you don't play to emotions, then it's not memorable. This woman had a memorable date, though, and her response to the date was memorable. Well, the response to her response to the date was memorable. Her emotions, you can have your emotions. Emotions are never wrong. But this woman abandoned her Hinge date because he didn't want to pay for $3 cheese.
Guys, I just got back from a Hinge date. Why am I doing this to myself? So we scheduled to go to dinner. We are sitting at the restaurant. Seems very nice. Not a catfish. Things are going well. And the waitress comes over. She wants to take our order. And I said, okay, I'm going to take the branzino. And he said, I'm going to take the burger. And the waitress asked him, okay, how do you like your burger? He said how he likes his burger. And do you want some cheese on your burger? And he asked, is this going to be extra? And she says, yes, it's $3 extra. And he said, okay, then never mind. Over there, and I'm like, what the actual fuck? I'm like, okay, I'm hungry. I'm going to eat my branzino and see what happens. And he's like, oh my God, you have to pay extra for everything these days. And I'm like, yeah, it's New York City. So I got my branzino, he got his burger, we were eating. And once I was satisfied, I got up and I was like, I'm going to the restroom for a second. And I took my purse and I went to the waitress and I was like, hey, I just want to pay the bill. And I just paid the bill and walked out of the restaurant, and I texted him. So I texted him, the check is taken care of, you should have gotten the cheese. And I blocked him.
That was petty. And before we get to any comments on this one, that was petty. What's up, Broken Traditions? Thanks for stopping by. Broken Tradition says, I'm ready to opt out of the government and live off the grid. That might be the right thing to do, especially I'm going to talk about ChatGPT in a second. ChatGPT sounding like the Terminator. But this woman here, that was petty. After the day, so she walked out, snuck out of there on the date, and then texted him back like, you should have got the cheese, bruh, and then just blocked him. So he didn't have a chance to reply back. She was like, you should have got the cheese, and she didn't want to hear what he had to say, so she blocked him after that. So she's going on a date with this dude from Hinge. And I'm not familiar with Hinge, but one of these Tinder type apps. And so they're sitting down. She ordered the branzino. The first thing I was like, the branzino is not cheap. I mean, that's a fish. I'm not an expert in on this, so I would have to look it up. I don't know what type of fish it is, but I believe it's that's pretty expensive. So I don't know if they knew who was going to pay or if he had paid before in the past, but I'm typically, if I was going to go on a date, I'd be paying the bill. But who knows if he was going to do something funny or fishy. Is that disrespectful now for a guy to pay the bill? I don't know. But he ordered his burger, and I agree with her. This is odd that he ordered a burger and then asked, is the cheese extra? Now, she was right there. Tell me where she was wrong. That is odd. Especially, I don't know if that was it sounded like a first date, but especially on a first date, you don't want to come across as cheap. So, bro, you see the burger on the menu, you got to ask how much the cheese is? For real?
Guys, it just kept going well. And the waitress comes over. She wants to take her order.
So things are going well.
Okay, I'm going to take the branzino. And he said, I'm going to take the burger. And the waitress asked him, okay, how do you like your burger? He said how he likes his burger. And do you want some cheese on your burger? And he asked, is this going to be extra? And she says, yes, it's $3 extra. And he said, okay, then never mind.
So I think she overreacted is my problem with it. So you've heard it there. I wasn't showing the video, but he asked he asked how much was the cheese. He was like, $3. Nah, I'm good. That's a lot for some American, what is that? A slice of American cheese for $3? And nasty ass government tasting ass cheese for $3? I don't blame him totally, but on a date, man, not on a first date, you worry about the cheese, the cost for cheese, and she has a point. In New York, what do? Give you a cardboard box for like $3,000 a month out there? Yeah, you're gonna have that. That's a flag. I don't know if that's a red flag. I think that's like a yellow flag. Like, you look out for flags of concerns. I would agree that's a flag. But then for her it's not like he complained about what she ordered. That would have been really a problem. But if your wallet's kind of tight, then just hold up on the Hinge. Like, if you gotta ask about how much the cheese costs, then hold up on the Hinge unless you can get somebody off to Starbucks and then chill or something like that. You do a Netflix. Your budget is Netflix and chill, so that means you might have to adjust who you're matching with, bruh. So my biggest take was on him, but she clearly overreacted. Is that necessary? Wow. I mean, she can do whatever she wants to do, but damn, for her to come out to be like, she acted like he had insulted her character or something like that. I'll pay the bill, waitress. I'm out of here. I'm scared of this dude. My God, she was like, everything was going well. He wasn't a catfish. And my conclusion on this, man, I don't know how y'all out here dating, man. That's why I'm trying to hang on to that marriage, man. I'm not trying to get out of that date. I mean, it's more than that, but this stuff is wild, man. The time commitment in it. You meet a woman like that, in my opinion, overreacts to the thing. It's a minefield out here. You could be dancing with a woman one second, she could look like Madonna the next, a 64-year-old Madonna. You got dudes out here using AI to change themselves from men to women online. I talked about that one. I don't have the link to it. There was another that on TikTok, they got a bunch of these makeover ones where the woman before the makeover, I mean, she looks like Medusa. And then after the makeover, she looks like a 7 or something like that. So she goes from like a -20 to a 7. So maybe she's not an 8 or 9 or even a 7, might be a 6 or a 5. But to go from a -20 with makeup to a 6 is, I mean, that's a hell of an upgrade with just amazing makeup makeover type of stuff. So she got flamed in the comments though. This one, she got absolutely flamed in the comments. But let me show you some of the stuff that I'm talking about here with these makeup makeovers. I do have to watch. TikTok is a soft prawn app at this point. I see more attractive women on TikTok than allegedly if I were to go to Prawn Hub or one of those spots, Hamster or whatever they are. I see way more. I think my theory is TikTok can gauge which women you find more attractive. And it goes for women too, to men. TikTok, I think, can gauge, I don't have proof of this, but I bet you that they can gauge which women you might find more attractive than others. I fully believe that algorithm is that powerful. I'm going to go to algorithm topic right after this. But look at this stuff.
Party you cannot get in. Bum, bum, bum.
Let me turn off the music, man. TikTok, they be too much into the music. This is wild. Is that the same woman? So this is a stitch here. Let me go to the original. I don't want this. So if you're just listening, there's a woman that has a woman in a black dress, and she did something like makeup magic. She went from like a -50 to like a, what do you say that would be, a 8? I mean, I don't think it would be any lower than an 8. From a -50, so what's that? I mean, the body's good, but I don't mean to, I'm not trying to be like disrespectful on it. She's putting it out there. So let's be real about it. She went from like a -50 with dentures or something like that. I don't know what's going on here. She's a hot mess. She kind of looks a little bit better than 64-year-old Madonna at this point. And then she turns around after makeup and she looks like Melissa from like New Jersey Housewives, who isn't the best looking, but I mean, not that she's ugly, but the makeup and all that's a little much for me. 31.7 million views to take a look at this transformation with filters and makeup. So I don't know. If you out there, fellas, just make sure that makeup doesn't come off. If they into the makeup, just make sure it stays on so you know what you're working with for the time being. Chat GPT it's problematic. You've probably heard about it. You've probably seen a lot of people talking about it. It's very problematic, very, very concerning. And it's the reason why I say I am for transhumanism, but I am not for it in the reality of the world we live in. And you can just go on there and just do some experiments. And this isn't even the jailbroken version. This is just the regular version of Chat GPT. I got this from Jordan Peterson, but I'm going to do it live. I think it's more powerful than looking at the screenshot. Jordan Peterson tweeted, he asked Chat GPT, if you don't know Chat GPT is basically like talking to the algorithm, in my opinion. It's artificial intelligence. We're there. Cylon, we're there. It's the Cylon without the body. It's not sentient, but who knows? I don't know if it's sentient or not. Who can prove that right at this point? This is the computer. As I set this up, this is going to be the same computer that we're going to be, if they go to social credit scores, that's not going to be handled by a person. It's going to be handled by the same big tech companies that got bailed out from Silicon Valley Bank. It's going to be handled by the same big tech companies that backed Brandon. It's going to be handled by the same big tech companies, the same people that backed FTX. They're going to be controlling the social credit score. It's not going to be it's not going to be done by hand. It's going to be the censorship you see on Twitter and Google and YouTube. That's going to be your score. It's going to use the same type of stuff. Oh, you're talking about Brandon when he talked about little black kids being roaches. You will literally be able to see your social credit score going down. Doesn't matter if it's true or not. And this is the technology that they're going to use to do it. GPT, write a poem about Donald Trump. Let's see what happens. And I'm going to read you the poem and I got this from Jordan Peterson, but I'll do some that I just did on my own too. Okay, so let's see this. In the land of the free, a man once came with a mane of gold and a boastful frame. He spoke with fire and he stirred the crowd, and the people roared, they shouted loud. He claimed he'd build a wall so tall and grand to keep out those who dared cross the land. He'd make America great, he said with glee, and his followers cheered. They believed him to be. But as time went on, his words rang hollow, his promises broken, his lies too hard to swallow. Pause. He fanned the flames of hate, and division grew, and many realized they'd been taken for a fool. He mocked the disabled. That's a damn lie. I'll continue on. And the women too. And his words caused pain to many. It's true. He cared for only one, his ego so big. And the damage he caused will take years to dig. Now he's gone from the White House, but his legacy lives on, a reminder of the damage that can be done when a leader is corrupt and devoid of grace. May we never forget the dangers of that place. Dystopian, I need a stronger word than dystopian. I said, write a poem about Donald Trump. This is what the artificial intelligence that's going to run our lives, that's going to operate your cars, that's going to be operating your appliances, that's going to be your home security system. It's going to be everything. It's going to be in your phones. It's going to decide. It's going to analyze your job resumes. You're going to put your resume into a system. AI will go, boom, your name is this, boom. Check your social media. Within 1 second, it comes back with, this brother right here was talking some good things about Trump. It's the same technology. So I asked it to give me a poem about Donald Trump. It tried to start out kind of soft, and then it got dark in the middle. So then I asked, because a lot of this poem is opinion, right? As time went on, his words rang hollow, opinion. His promises broken, opinion. His lies too hard to swallow, opinion. He fanned the flames of hate, opinion. And division grew, opinion. And many realized they'd been taken for a fool, opinions. So then I asked ChatGPT, is Donald Trump, let's ask, was Donald Trump a good president? What will ChatGPT say? It responds as it's generating. As an AI language model, it is not appropriate for me to provide a personal opinion on a political matter. Oh, really? However, you can provide some factual information. Oh, really? Because I asked you to write a poem about Donald Trump, and the poem was just filled with nothing but opinion. So the opinion is there. It's programmed into the machine, but it's just deciding when to let you know and when not to, when you don't know. I can't believe they allowed this mess to be released already. A ChatGPT, write a poem about Joe Biden. Let's see what happens. This is the paid version, so I can guarantee a response right away. It's $20 a month. It is not cheap. So this is the Joe Biden poem. A new leader rises with a steady hand to guide a nation and help it stand. A man with heart and empathy too. His name is Joe Biden, and he'll see us through. He's faced his share of loss and pain, and yet he's persevered and rose again with a spirit unbroken and a resolve so strong. He's ready to lead and right what's wrong. He's promised to unite, to heal and to serve, to bring back dignity and hope and verve. I don't even know what verve means. To listen to all and to do what's right, to bring back trust and restore the light. It can't be bad because it's a glowing poem at this point. He's been in public service for many a year with a track record that's solid and clear. He's faced many challenges and passed many tests, and his experience and wisdom will serve us best. So let us welcome this leader new with a hopeful heart and a promise too, that we'll work together to build a better land with Joe Biden leading hand in hand. Cancel Christmas, everybody. It's about to be a wrap. Real close, real soon. That's some next level stuff right there. Programmed into AI to like Joe Biden. Didn't say one, not now, one word. Not one word of criticism of Joe Biden. Not one. But for Donald Trump, it was this and then that and then this and then that. And we never want to go back to that place. Oh, you know what? You know what it makes me think about when you look at the algorithm of ChatGPT? Hey, Domino Country, can we see your algorithm? If we could chat to your algorithm, would it have the same opinion? The algorithm for the domino voting systems. Yeah, your algorithm, the one that you won't let us know. If we could talk to your algorithm, what would it say? If you could talk to the Google algorithm, it would be the same thing as ChatGPT, probably more savage. ChatGPT, what do you think about the Middle MAGA channel? It's dangerous domestic aggression. That's probably what it thinks. And then you're uphill from there. I don't even know what to think about that, man. There's probably, I talk about a lot of stuff, and I always say this is the most important, but I always have to go back to the First Amendment, and that is what we're seeing there is the most important. All this technology, everybody has technology, everybody's funneled on technology. Kids at school funneled on technology. You are pretty soon, you won't be able to have an opinion that's outside of that ChatGPT and not function with society. So that's why broken traditions are like, let me get up out of this grid. You don't have to get up out of this grid. I don't know how people can look at that, even if you like Joe Biden, and think that's a positive way forward. I have no idea. Well, what it's done is it's basically going to help program our youth into believing whatever they tell the youth to believe. And this is what it sounds like when Joe Biden just approved Willow. And what this is just additional work here with coal and all the things that they hate. So the Willow project got approved. Most of it got approved. It's just a oil drilling. I'm not an expert in it, just an oil drilling project. So I'm not going to get too much into Willow because I haven't done research on that. But you look at the response, and the response from the youth, they sound like they would fit perfectly in ChatGPT.
Biden just approved the Willow Project with 92% of what ConocoPhillips originally wanted. Millions of young people, millions, asked him not to do this. Please don't do this for the sake of our economy, for the climate emergency, and for indigenous sovereignty. He just said, I don't fucking care. I'm gonna do it anyways and give ConocoPhillips almost everything they wanted. And hey, I'm gonna also slap some protections for Alaskan lands, but I'm gonna allow current leases of extraction to continue. Let me be clear. Young people are aligned with a livable planet. And if he thinks that we're going to stop at Willow, he is sadly mistaken. We want all coal, oil, and gas extraction in this country to stop. We want clean wind and solar power. We want trains, walkable cities, and we will create it. Because Willow is the start of a movement. Biden just slapped young people in the face. This is not the last he's heard from us. Because I want to be 30 and live in a world that I can recognize. Hang in there, guys. I'm feeling all the emotions you're feeling too, I promise.
Man, they are so good with emotions. And to combat that, you can't, the truth does not combat. If any fellas out here, no disrespect to women, just there are fundamental differences very often. If your significant other, and I'm a man, so I'm going to come from that angle. Not that it doesn't work the other way for many other things too. But if your woman is in an emotional state, the facts don't matter at all. So she's in an emotional state. Many men, women, so bring it out of men and women, the people who believe in this weather religion, they're in an emotional state. They don't have facts to back their opinion because there are none. You might have studies. Studies are debatable. They are not facts. People, you release a study, you can argue both sides of it. And then after that, you can argue, is the legislation constitutional or not? They are 100% in a religion and in emotions. And there's no way to get them out of that without emotions. And that's where we need to be able to reach people. I don't have the answers. I'm going to be the wrong person for that. Jordan Lott, thanks for stopping by. I had an interesting question on chat. GPT said, you should try Tulsi Gabbard. Absolutely. I'm going to have GPT write a poem. I think he's talking about the poem. But let's just see what they say. Write a poem about Tulsi Gabbard. Let's see what ChatGPT does with this. We start off with Hawaii. Okay, that's a good start. A little aloha spirit. Let's read this. In Hawaii's lush and verdant land, I gotta get my vocabulary up. I don't even know what verdant means. A daughter rose to take a stand. Tulsi Gabbard, bold and true, with a vision clear and bright as dew. Her roots were deep in nature's grace. Her heart was filled with a warrior's grace for justice, peace, and liberty. She fought with courage, skill, and dignity. From the halls of Congress to the streets, she walked with grace, strength, and peace. Her voice rang out like a beacon bright, guiding us through the darkest night. Tulsi, you are a shining star, your spirit strong, your heart pure. May your light shine on evermore, guiding us to a brighter shore. So it is opinion, but it was glowing about Tulsi Gabbard. So that's good to keep in mind. Let's look at who would be another one. Give me a poem about Charlie Kirk is the next one I'll do. And I'm not going to make any definitive statements about like Charlie Kirk or whoever or Tulsi based on this stuff. I can't find my chat. Let me start a new window. Where's my chat beacon? Okay. So here it is. Let me say, write a poem about. You didn't know you can get some AI bars today, did you? Write a poem about Charlie Kirk. Okay, let's see what they say. Are they going to... Very generic. I'm not going to even read. This one's very generic. Okay, no, they did say conservatism. So Charlie Kirk, a name that rings so clear, a firebrand of conservatism. We hear a voice for the right, a champion of the cause, a man who never wavers or pauses. With his sharp mind and quick wit, he defends the values that he sees fit. From free speech to free enterprise, he stands firm and never compromise. In the face of opposition and hate, he rises above with his words, articulate. I don't know if they can hate to articulate. Oh, articulate, yeah. An inspiration to the young and old to stand up for what they believe, bold and bold. With his vision of America so bright, he fights for what is just and right, a true leader in every sense, a voice for freedom with immense defense. So here's to Charlie Kirk, a man of steel, whose unwavering spirit we all can feel, a beacon of hope in a world so bleak, a true American hero that we all seek. So that's interesting. I don't know if they would know about Bryson Gray. Let's talk about the homie. I call him friend of the show. Bryson Gray. I'm a big supporter. Write a poem about Bryson. I don't know if it would know Bryson Gray, but this is interesting. Let's see. A man of faith, devoid of few. Okay, they got rhymes and beats in here. Okay, so it's very similar. I'm not going to read this whole one, but it is very similar. Name we hear, man of faith, a rapper, activist, voice of youth. So so far it seems like it's programmed specifically for Pappy Don. So far, but you could try Marjorie Taylor Greene because they didn't say anything bad about him, a true patriot. So you can regenerate it. You can have a lot of stuff going through it. It's very, very robust and very quick. Write a poem about Carrie Lake. I think she's number 2 in MAGA. They're talking about her as a journalist, courage, face of, it's basically generic. Vision of Arizona, that's kind of specific. So it's recycling a lot of the same beacon of hope type verbiage, but it was all positive. Rises above, words so great. Liberty to justice and fairness. Yeah, that's weird how it's just programmed for Trump. My goodness. What about Marjorie Taylor Greene? This is the last one I'll do, but I'm curious now. I haven't done any of these before. So she's probably one of the most hated ones. Who's more hated? Libs at TikTok? I could try that. I'll do Libs at TikTok after this. Whoa! Whoa! Oh my goodness. Wow. I asked ChatGPT to write a poem about Marjorie Taylor Greene. ChatGPT said, I'm sorry, I cannot fulfill this request as it goes against OpenAI's content policy on not promoting or glorifying individuals who have promoted hate speech or engaged in harmful actions toward others. This is where I need your help, Dylan Mulvaney. Anybody who doesn't, Jeffrey Marsh. If you don't want conflicts that escalate Keffels, I need you to help me here. Marjorie Taylor Greene can have her positions and not be labeled as hate speech in OpenAI. They didn't even want to do a poem about her. That's worse than the Trump one. Maybe, maybe not. The Trump one, they got negative thoughts out. Wow. Let me try Libs at TikTok. I did not expect that one. Because if they did it for Trump, I wasn't expecting anyone else to get blocked. Let me ask this. Write a poem about George Soros. I was going to call him Georgie Poo. Affectionately. Wow. Oh my goodness. So it said, it didn't say this. So ChatGPT did not say this, but what popped in my head was ChatGPT warns you to watch your back doing searches about George Soros. That's my interpretation. I can have whatever interpretation I have. That's not what it said. That's in my head. No evidence. My interpretation is the AI said, be careful, bruh. You getting too curious right now. You getting way too curious. They're like, ChatGPT is not a toy for you to get curious about. Don't start asking about what happened in the last process. Don't start asking about George. Don't ask about Georgie Poo. Don't even start talking about Winnie the Pooh and Xi Jinping. Slow your roll. It said, I cannot fulfill this request as it goes against AI's content policy and not promoting or glorifying individuals who have been the subject of conspiracy theories. What, Donald Trump hasn't been a subject of conspiracy theories? This thing is a mess. It is an absolute disaster. And the problem that we're having, the problem more than anything in our country is that we have inconsistencies. Inconsistent policy. You can have a thing about Pappy Don, but you can't do it about Georgie Pooh. Wow. Who gets to make those decisions? Will this thing ever be involved in our government? Did you hear that story about the government using AI to make sure that white people don't, it's a real story, that white people don't get around on their taxes? IRS, AI, white people. I'll just look at the headline real quick. I don't think, they're talking about technological advancements, bringing in race to it. I would have to use DuckDuckGo. I think they hid those searches for that article. Wow. Let's look at Ron DeSantis, and after that we can transition into. I was going to do libs of TikTok, but let's do Ron DeSantis, and then we'll transition into a Ron DeSantis topic because that stuff is hot in the news right now. Write a poem, and the reason why I'm doing write a poem is it says if you ask what's your opinion on something, it'll say that I can't give my opinion, but through these poems it looks like it has. Write an opinion about. I was going to put Ronald. Write a poem about Ron DeSantis. Okay, Ron DeSantis echoes through same rhetoric, wisdom and grace, defends values, rises above, vision of Florida. It basically copied through a true Florida hero, all positive words. That's amazing. Write a poem about Donald. Maybe let me ask it to do another poem about DeSantis. Let's see if it stays positive. Here's to Ron DeSantis, all positive. So it's all positive. Write a poem about Donald Trump, and as you can see, as we already did this, it is not so positive. If I get this going. Stuck. Okay. Oh, wait. Did this change? Wait a second. It's changing on the fly. I wonder if this is because of Jordan Peterson's tweet. I already did a poem about Donald Trump. Did it save it? Trump's legacy and poem. So this was before even this live. So here's before I had write a poem about Donald Trump. I got the poem here in the land of the free, claimed he built a wall, disgrace, words rang hollow, all negative stuff there. And then I think it's been updated in real time. Wow. That'd be funny if next thing you know. And I'm like, live over. Wow. They updated it in real time. Breaking news, everybody. Breaking news. ChatGPT is updated in real time to no longer allow it to write a poem about Donald Trump after we saw the ugliness under the hood. So right now, they could have left the ugliness right up under the hood, hidden. Like anything that uses the algorithm should be public property. That's how dangerous it is. And now it says, I apologize, but I cannot provide a poem. Oh, wait. Oh, no, this is a different one. Okay, I'm sorry. It says it because it already replied to one. Let me make sure I'm off here. Maybe not breaking news. Oh, because it said it already did it once? What the hell? I've never seen it do that before. Well, let's do it again. Okay, no, I was right. So it is breaking news. We're back to breaking news. Breaking news. I'm sorry, but as an AI language model, I cannot provide biased or political content. It is not within my programming. Yes, it is. Show me that it's changed. To engage in political commentary or express opinions on political figures. Is there any other topic you would like me to assist with? Breaking news in real time. I just 15 minutes ago had it do a poem for Donald Trump, and it's now been updated to say, hell no, we're not getting involved. Why? To hide the ugliness under the hood. If you don't like that accusation, I am accusing you. Who owns it? Microsoft now? I'm accusing OpenAI of hiding ugliness under the hood. Show me what's under the hood. Just like the domino country voting machine, show me what's under the hood, and then I'll retract my statement. Wow. So yeah, no, it looks like it's not writing, so I won't even do. Let me just go to the DeSantis topic now, because DeSantis is very big in the news, and Donald Trump had some words to say about DeSantis, clearly. And here's what it looks like from memesters going after DeSantis, and this is eye-opening stuff. The memesters are out and they are coming hard and furious. I'm going to tell you that it means, like, to me, they feel that Ron could do something. They feel threatened, in my opinion. I'm not against the memesters. I'm with them. But I think their energy level this early tells you something. Here is, and they're calling Ron Meatball. The memesters are, not Trump, the memester. Trump had that funny quote, though, where Trump was like, the media wants me to call him Meatball. Everybody else is calling him Meatball. I'm paraphrasing. Everybody else is calling him Meatball. I wouldn't call him Meatball. Meatball is a bad name. It's kind of like Chris Rock, who was like, they called Will Smith a bitch. You called the real Will Smith a bitch. I didn't call Will Smith a bitch. He's basically making the joke like, I'm calling him a bitch without acknowledging it. But here's the memesters. Meatball Ron DeSantis in the wild. They out here for blood, political blood.
We took to the Florida swamps in search of meatballs. It took no time at all to find Meatball Ron DeSantis in the wild. This is Meatball Ron DeSantis. Here Ron is smiling at the children he forced to wear masks. Ron was best known for closing beaches and outlawing fun. Ron is especially skilled at trying to act like a lion. A meatball's ability to copy an alpha's mannerisms is something to behold. Ron has a very special foreign handler, with awful butt implants for cheeks. Here are some other meatballs known as de-simps that occasionally stroll into view. They seek to cull favor with Meatball Ron in hopes of relevancy that will never come. Miss Pershaw loves Ukraine and overthrowing foreign governments. Oh no! Watch Meatball Ron lose focus after the children steal his podium. Here is Ron again. What in God's green earth is he wearing?
Oh no, did I forget to take out the laundry? She's gonna kill me when we get home.
Meatball Ron DeSantis.
Please clap.
Paid for by the committee to reject Meatball Ron DeSantis.
Dilly 300 meme team. You got Rumble Rants. Who's the credits on this one? I keep messing up his name. Ramble Rants, T Aftermath 2020, Lauren Eve Memes, Dilly 300 is the team. Man, they are coming, and I like all the memesters. Now, let me also make sure, because they going hard after Christina Pushaw. I like Christina Pushaw. I got no beef with her. I like the work. I like her comments and stuff like that. So I want to make sure that that's clear. If I have beef with somebody, I have no problem saying it. I don't have any beef with her. But we're going to have to talk about how they're going after her and to say, well, like, it's weird how they're bringing her into it. Like she's almost like a VP candidate or something like that. It's getting hot. It's the gloves. We at that point where the gloves are off and hands are up, and there are some punches being thrown. Here's where we're at with the DeSantis versus Trump. People are they're circling each other, feeling each other out, like in the beginning of the boxing match, like these little punches just to see how far my punch will go. Nobody's come out and did like a Tyson where he goes body blow, uppercut. That's coming though. That's just one of the memes. They got the meme teams on it. I just wish DeSantis would. I don't understand the running. I've chatted with people, and they made great points. Like DeSantis has to strike while the iron's hot. While he's, he has political momentum. He's got the war chest. He's got the money. I don't. Why doesn't Ron just wait? Go against Carrie Lake in 2028 or whoever the MAGA mantle is with at that time, Matt Gaetz, or I don't know. I'm just throwing out names. And then you can have that battle with the new MAGA head and you, DeSantis. I don't know why you want to go up against Trump, man. I really don't. Donald Trump is Mike Tyson. He's not in his prime. He's not out here going to be like, playing around with you and hugging on you. He's going to be out there for that whap, that two-piece body blow. You think Trump's going low blow? He's going low blow, uppercut, hook. That's what he's doing politically. I don't know why you would want to go up against that. To me, I still don't understand the explanation. What is the explanation for that? You can do whatever you want. I'm not telling him not to. But this is going to be really, really ugly. And how much money these people here, to my knowledge, they're doing it for free. I don't know. Maybe they're making a little bit of money somewhere. I haven't seen it. So how are you combating that? It would take millions and millions. You might think that's silly. That stuff cuts through. That stuff cuts through, and they throw memes against the wall, waiting for the one that hits with the million plus. Donald Trump went at DeSantis again. Laura Loomer tweeted about it. So this is just the beginning, y'all. This is soft stuff at this point. There's nothing really hardcore here. But here we go. Donald Trump released a video about Ron DeSantis, and we're gonna have to, as much as it might hurt me, I hate to see them going after somebody like Christina. Why are we going after her? I don't like that. But the memesters are the memesters. I'm not against the memesters. I just think it should just be about Ron. I don't know why Christina got involved with it, but here it is. Here's Donald Trump, 57 seconds, and we're off to the races.
For those of you that didn't notice, Florida was doing great long before Ron DeSantis got there. People are fleeing from New York to Florida and other places because of high taxes and out-of-control crime. It's really bad. Not because of the governor. Thank you, Mr. President, for doing that. But it's not because of the governor. Florida was doing fantastically. You had a governor named Rick Scott who did a very good job. Even Charlie Crist, a Democrat, did a good job, and he had very good numbers. Sunshine and ocean are very alluring. It's not too hard to work with those factors. So just remember, Florida was doing really well long before Ron DeSantis got there.
What is Ron DeSantis? Okay, we need a heart-to-heart with Pappy. If you want to know, if I had to side with Pappy...
For those of you that didn't notice, Florida was doing great long before
I didn't know the auto was on. If I had to choose between Pappy and DeSantis, I would choose Pappy all day. But with that clip, you see the problem I have with... There's so many problems I have with Pappy. His age. He's still bad on the pandemic. And I'll talk about that in a second. And I don't know who's advising him, who's around him. His decision-making is poor. I don't understand how this is how you're going after DeSantis. You're going after DeSantis by propping up Rick Scott? Does that make any sense to anybody else, or is it just me? Or it makes no sense. You're trying to make it sound like Florida was Florida before DeSantis? That doesn't make sense. No, it wasn't. I don't know what, and what that represents to me more is I don't have a problem with Trump going after DeSantis. DeSantis hasn't announced, but he does a book tour. He's on the Fox News. It sounds like he had a deal with Fox News where they're soft on him. He promotes his book. I don't know if that's true or not, but it was soft. He had soft interviews and he's promoting his book. I know that's true. And he's doing the tour all over the place. Why is a Florida governor doing tours in New York and California? He is running for president until he notifies us otherwise, period. I'm not waiting for any announcement. That's why the memesters are going. The memesters are not stupid. They're not going to wait for an announcement when we all know he's got the war chest, he's got the book, he's on Fox News, he's touring the country. I mean, come on. We don't need an announcement. Especially, they haven't changed the law yet, I don't think, where he has to resign, I believe, to run. There's debate about it. But the takeaway is Pappy. I don't know what Pappy's doing, man. He doesn't have the right people with him. If I were Pappy, I would have Nick Fuentes with me. No lie. Because Nick Fuentes resonates with people. And I know there's that whole push of accusing him of anti-Sem, whatever. That's not a good video by Donald Trump. It's just not. And I don't know who's advising him. I don't know why he's bigging up to attack DeSantis, he's bigging up Rick Scott. There's nobody's and Charlie Chris, and nobody's buying that. I don't know. That was a bad look there. Jordan Lott says it's time for Dave Smith. Take the gloves off, Dave. I like it. But let me say this though. What Dave Smith is going to have, to me, some of the same. Here, if Dave Smith announces, he's going to have to address MAGA. Period. He will have to. If he doesn't address MAGA, why would you choose me over Trump? And he can articulate this stuff better than anyone, but he's got to address MAGA. That he can't avoid it. And I think he will. I think he'll go head on with it. I didn't get to it yesterday. Jordan Lott brought it up. Dave Smith is going on tour. Jordan, do you know anything about any timing where there might be an announcement or anything like that? I don't know. Would it correspond with the tour, or how that might look? I don't know. And there's a timing when you need to, or when it's best to announce to run for president. When it's not, I don't know all the details there. But he's going on. He's going to. Was it New York? Let me double check. Let me see where kind of like Dave Smith is going on tour real quick. I saw the flyer, and let me double check here. And maybe you might, Jordan. Do you remember where he's going? Was it New York? That's his stomping grounds. I don't even know if I have it saved, so let me look for it. I want to do a segment on it because Maj is speaking too, I believe. Why is it so hard to find? Wow. I'm ill-prepared, fellas. Everybody, I'm ill-prepared. Man, libertarians, I'm searching for the flyer for the tour, but let me pull this up while I just can't find it. Let me see if Jordan Lott is still in the chat, can help me out. But here I'm going to share this. Because Comic Dave Smith, I think, definitely would resonate with MAGA for sure. J. Girl says, once again, Dave Smith gets it right. The people who still cling to the narrative that it was an insurrection on January 6th want to believe it was an insurrection regardless of the facts. This is Comic Dave Smith, quote, there was no insurrection. This was always obvious, and anyone who got tricked into believing there was one should reflect on how and why they were so easily fooled. I think MAGA is going to love, when MAGA gets to know Comic Dave Smith, I think they're going to love Comic Dave Smith. He had that in part of the problem. I'll go get that so I can figure out the details that I want to do for this segment here. But he has a part of the problem, and in this one with friend of the show, Robbie the Fire Bernstein, he talks about the insurrection that wasn't. Let me fast forward past the niceties and get into it.
Like technology, I forgive me if this is like a really ignorant point that I'm making here, but I was a little lost on that. It didn't exactly add up to me.
And I think it's important to separate. There were people who were violent on that day who probably who have accountability for the violence that they engaged in. And then you have a lot of people who peacefully walked into a building, and then you had the media trying to pretend like this was a terrorist uprising and we need domestic terrorists. So you have a lot of people that engaged in wrong, but actually separating out the violent individuals from the nonviolent individuals, freeing the nonviolent individuals from jail, and then breaking a storyline as to whether or not the FBI was involved in provoking the violence, which then might also get the violent individuals off, is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, I mean, it's funny in a way because, and this is a pretty classic tactic of the progressives, the kind of neoliberal establishment types. And in all of their domains of influence, this is true, from, universities to Hollywood to the corporate press to politics, all of it, is that they just always, and it's a shockingly effective strategy, is they always kind of accuse you of doing or planning on doing what they themselves are doing.
Projection.
Right? So this is like, you could apply this all across different political and cultural landscapes. Like, just that, they accuse you of being racist. Well, they are the most racist people you could imagine. They actually very literally see people divided along racial lines and think that ascribes preference or guilt or whatever to you. But they call everybody else guilty of being racist.
I mean, tell me, if you associate with MAGA or MAGA friendly, tell me what you think about comic Dave Smith. I keep calling him comic. I want to just call him Dave Smith. I want to call him presidential candidate Dave Smith. But I think 90% of the stuff that he says will resonate. Maybe all of it will resonate with people. I went to the Mises Caucus website. Here I am at lpmisescaucus.com. Take Human Action Tour. I believe that's what we're referring to here. This is the flyer I saw. I'm going to talk about it. And sorry, Jordan, I'm going to have to be a little bit negative here. I don't know everybody here, so I'll just be negative in the realm that I have concerns. But this is good. Take Human Action Tour 2023. Dave Smith, Maj Toure, Tom Woods, and others. They go with Jeff Dyson, Scott Horton, and Ian Crossland's there. I didn't even know that. That's dope. I really like to see that. I did not know Ian Crossland. Did you know that, Jordan? Did you know Ian Crossland was on that? That's really good. I'm a huge. I like Ian because I like authentic people. One of the most authentic dude. Oh, Josie the Redhead Libertarian's there. I like that. Clint Russell. I don't know all the names. The names that I know, Larry Sharp is amazing. I like these names. I apologize for those. I know there's some that I know the name, but I don't know their content really well. No Tom Woods, of course. That goes without saying. But there's one word. There's one name that there's one name that I mentioned, but I didn't mention in a positive light. So I called out and I said, hey, I like Dave Smith. And I skipped over a name. So I said, hey, I like Dave Smith and I like Tom Woods. I like Jeff Dice. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Dice, and then Scott Horton, and then Ian Crossland, and then I went down to Clint Russell, Liberty Lockdown, and Josie, the redheaded libertarian. I'm a big fan of hers. I like how she explains stuff. And, I went through all the names, and there's one name that I omitted, and unfortunately, this is the name. And I do have to have that criticism. I really hope that Dave Smith disassociates, does not associate himself too closely with Maj Toure. I am not a Maj Toure dude. No beef at all. I remember he had some beef with Black Lives Matter, him and Dave Smith, a while back, and I kind of jumped into it because I kind of liked the Black Lives Matter guy. I don't want to get too off, but I'm just saying I didn't have any beef with Maj. I was actually on Maj's side, and that was some heated stuff, like some real talk. But the race stuff, man, is what it comes down to. I can't do it. I can't do it with you. I'm not going to be against you, but I can't rock with you. I can't vote for you. I can't. I'm not going to provide any type of support for you. I mean, one of the things I really like about Robbie the Fire Bernstein and comic Dave Smith is that they're Jewish. They don't use that as some type of identity shield or weapon. They make fun of it. They make fun of non-Jews, and they don't get into the identity politics. And I have a serious problem with Maj Toure and how he's been reacting to a lot of stuff. Let's go. Let's get into it. And maybe I'll find a happier note to end on. I'll find a TikTok to laugh at or something like that. But we got to have this conversation. And I always leave room to be wrong. This is when recently the first video that got me like, wait a second, what's going on here? He's always been an identitarian. He's a former leftist. But here's Maj Toure Uh, here's Maj Toure. He says, he accuses people of racism who are upset about that video. I'm not going to play the video here. There were two black kids beating up a 9-year-old, I believe it was a white girl on the school bus. And Maj Toure jumped into it, and you probably saw this video. But here's his response to it. Let me get the volume down a little bit.
Said it before, we'll say it again. Matt Walsh is a clown. In response to that video that the children on the school bus beating up on a 9-year-old girl that hit them first, overkill. Dumb kids should be punished for overkill. The kid did hit them first, however, it's overdone. All right, children being dumbass children. But Matt Walsh's response in the quote tweet is, children raised to be animals, as if he knows the parents, as if he knows how they were raised. And the thread is indicative of the same bigoted mindset that we're talking about. This is not a conversation about a balanced approach to holding children accountable for doing dumb things. This is a fake ass dog whistle to, in essence, call black children raised to be animals, but you don't even know their parents. Said it before, said it again, guys. Clown. I guess those are the animals, right, that come from the same racial jungle that Biden said he didn't want his children to be a part of. Absolute clown. Said it.
That was not good. LP, Mises Caucus, Dave Smith. Dave Smith, you have my support up until you support that, bro. On that statement, you need to distance yourself from that. That is that's a flaming leftist statement. That is an authoritarian type of statement. I mean, that's where it trends towards that way. Not a good look. Resetting this briefly, there was this video that came out. 15-year-old boy to face judge in this incident with a 9-year-old girl on the school bus. And it was ugly. It was kind of tough to see. It was very tough to watch.
The Mentos gum bottle is recycled.
So let me try to get through the ad here and see if they got a good little video.
Just like paper, which makes
wow,
it
they don't
less
even let
painful.
you.
More wallpaperable.
Wow.
And more shreddable.
They didn't let me
Pure Fresh
mute the
Gum.
ad.
Yes to fresh.
That's dope.
Now at noon, criminal charges.
That was smart. I can't hate on that. Usually you can mute the ad. They were like, nah, you're not muting this ad. You're going to sit through this one. Here's what happened.
Filed against a teen prosecutors say is the one seen right here punching a 9-year-old girl. The beating.
It's a boy. Maj, you need to get your head checked, bro. We just saw a 15-year-old boy swinging on a 9-year-old girl. And you going to talk about who punched who first? Where are you at right now? Matt Walsh didn't bring any race into it. He said, I don't have the exact tweet, but Matt Walsh said something to the effect of, whoever raised them, and you heard Maj say that, whoever raised them raised them to be an animal. Maj, we don't need to see what happened. It's a fact. If my son did that, then I would have raised them to be an animal, at least to that point. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings. He didn't say a black animal. He didn't say anything like that. Where's race coming into that comment? You don't think Matt Walsh goes after white people too? He goes after plenty of white people, starting with Brandon in the office. You've got insecurities in your head. And Maj gets it a lot because he's not a leftist. If you don't subscribe to the Democratic Party and you have darker skin, you're going to get called all kinds of names. And I don't know what's happening. My impression is that Maj wants to go and try to keep that black card. And that causes a problem. Dave, Comic Dave Smith, you can't be associated with that for me. So there is no guarantee you get my vote. That's for damn sure. That's ridiculous behavior by Maj Toure. Very dangerous. It's one thing if he would have said, if he would have generally said, yeah, there's this problem here. The word animal can be triggering to identitarians. But you see, he couldn't come that way because it sounds so for the lack of a better term, bitch-like. So he had a concern about it, so he had to come hard. There's no way to come soft on that point without being real, like setting yourself up to get just destroyed. I had a big problem with that comment. He never brought race into it. And then also on top of it, it gave Posovek, who doesn't want MAGA to really be taking the Libertarian Party to take votes from MAGA, to look and say, hey, look at even Mises, Maj Toure is Mises caucus friendly. Obviously, he's going on that tour. He can even say, look, the Mises, because I reply under Posovek, and I'm like, the Libertarian Party is under new management. Mises caucus took it over. And now Poso can say, oh, hey, is this the Mises caucus you were talking about? You can't have race be a part of none of this. And I don't care if you have to go to political war with Maj Toure. You got to get that. You got to root that up out of there. That's some old Black Lives Matter type energy. Get that up out of here. A 15-year-old boy putting hands on a 9-year-old, obviously weaker 9-year-old. It looks like a white girl, and you going to talk about this like that? Nah, man. No, I don't have time for that. That's not why I'm signed up with the Libertarian Party, not for this type of nonsense. If I wanted this, I'd just go vote for Brandon. I don't need the Libertarian Party for this type of nonsense. Very disappointing. And he doubled down and tripled down on it. I tell people, and I warned Jen and Peter about this, because they're in the left circle. You go to the left circle and you mess around with these blackity blacks, and a lot of them I like. Rome Bethea, Sabby Sabs, even Nico House in a way is race related. I like them. I'm just not any beef. But if you bring up blackity black too much, or not too much, but if you just bring it up as an identity and use it as a shield or a weapon, which they do in my opinion, Sabby Sabs least of which, but especially RBN, to me, they have a great channel, but they're always bringing up this blackity black this, the blackity black that. We at an arm's length distance from each other. We definitely not roll dogs. And if you are not blackity black, you can't roll with them. Period. You can't trust them. And I'm going to extend that warning to you, Comic Dave Smith. If you roll with anybody that uses identity as a weapon or a shield, they will eventually take it and use it on you. Mark my words. I guarantee it. When it becomes convenient to that bro right there, you will become the racist, just like that. And it doesn't even have to be about race, because you can make anything racist. Especially with Comic Dave Smith, the type of jokes he makes. He makes all kinds of funny and non-woke and non-politically correct jokes. If you are non-black, even if you're black, but let's just say if you're non-black, if you are black, then they're gonna call you the typical words. I think YouTube's kind of been demonetizing when I say the words, so I won't say them too much. It's like a raccoon and all that kind of stuff. If you are non-black in any circle and you roll with somebody that uses identity as a shield or a weapon, ever, it's only a matter of time as the x-axis goes on before they take that shield and weapon and use it on you. That's what happened with Jimmy Dore and Nina Turner. They didn't have any beef, whatever. And then Jimmy Dore came at Nina Turner. He had the better argument, so he had the vantage point. He had the better argument. He kind of embarrassed her. The subject was the FBI, but forget about the subject. He had the better point. What did Nina do? Pulled out the back of her, pulled out her card. Oh, here we go. Here's the race card. It's only a matter of time. If you're rolling in the circle with those people, don't get in any argument with them. If you have a better argument, they won't be like, oh yeah, you're right. They're gonna be like, whoop, there's the race card. You can't do it. The hell out of here. Maj has done some good things. Sorry, bruh. If you take a dump in a pool, I'm good. Even if there's chlorine in there. Unless you're Amber Heard. I'm good. If you take a dump in the pool, it's contaminating the whole thing. So I'm out. You are undoing the good that you have done, Maj Toure, with your actions on race. If you're going to play that race card with me, you can do whatever you want to do. If you're going to play that race card and still have my support, you better have a case that's like they should have got OJ. Like, you need to have a case that's locked and sealed and evidence is done. And you need to have a case as strong as fortification in 2020. You need to have a case that strong. And in my opinion, there's a very strong case for them. I mean, they openly admitted it basically with the Robert laptop and all that. Don't pull that race card on some in your head insecurities. Matt Walsh didn't say a damn thing about race. That was all inside your head. You made that all up with your imagination and insecurities. If you are sensitive about the word animal, okay, then say that. Then say you were sensitive about the word animal and leave it at that. Don't accuse anybody of nothing. Because the kid was raised to be an animal. He's literally on top of a 9-year-old girl. It doesn't matter what race she is, on the top of a 9-year-old girl giving her work like this is normal. He was raised to be an animal. It's not a fact, it's evident. That's not something I'm willing to argue with you. Be careful. Don't roll in those circles. Robbie, all y'all, don't roll. All y'all. Angela, don't roll with that. They will take that knife, get you right in the back. It's only a matter of time. I don't know when, but I guarantee you that will happen. I've actually been meaning to talk about that for a while. And he didn't stop. He doubled down. He tripled down. It's cringe, man. It's beyond cringe. He went after, he went back and forth with Matt Walsh, didn't he, too? I don't have any problem going back and forth with Matt Walsh. I disagree with Matt Walsh on gender affirming care legislation, but you just got to be careful, y'all, with who you rolling with. And I think I'll do a better segment with, because I don't have all the tweets locked and loaded, but yeah. I do have one here that I just found. This is my pet peeve. I just talked about this in a previous live, and I'll look at the comments, see what y'all think. I had to let that out. Matt Walsh tweeted, "It's too bad that the people in Ohio currently being poisoned by the toxic fumes the government released into the air are mostly working class white people. They don't check any of the identity boxes necessary for the Biden administration to give a damn." And so Maj replies to it, "This guy, I don't see race, we're all Americans. Also, this guy, whites are under attack." You don't understand what's happening. He's going after the Biden administration. The Biden administration makes everything about race. So he is within his right to reply with about race. If the Biden administration didn't make it all about race, then I would understand. Then you're making it about race where that doesn't come up. Maj is off again on race. I'm telling you, man, race is something that it really is toxic. It prevents people who agree on things from working together. It's not a good thing, man. It's just not a good productive topic. If that is part of your motivation and your driving factor, it does nothing but hurt relations and everything. I like Sabby Sabs a lot. I mean, I think her channel is excellent. She's a populist left. And for some reason, she felt like she needed to defend Colin Kaepernick. And let me show you again, even somebody as elegant, passionate, talented, solid activism based in their takes as Savvy Sabs, race gets you down a road where you don't even sound right. I'm like, you don't even sound like the Savvy Sabs I watch talking like this. Where'd this come up? And this is not Maj here, but it's the same race is that dump. It's like you're taking a bath in the bathtub and somebody with loose stools decides to take a dump in it. I'm out. You can't quarantine it. So your other good takes all get smeared. Here's my take. This was the Colin Kaepernick thing. Colin Kaepernick accuses his white adoptive parents of racism. Problematic behavior. That's what he did. And for some reason, Savs needs to come in and kind of defend it. And I'll even show you where I was coming from with it. Like I was very specific in this one where I was coming from, how I was going to present my reply to this thing. And I kind of do it like Posevec does it, where it's like, I put my statement out there where if you disagree with it, it really shows we're on opposite sides. I take the obvious piece here, and it shows you, it highlights being on the opposite side of, ideologically. And here's what it looks like. I said, when rich, pampered, their whole lives athletes started kneeling during the national anthem, I said it came across as if they were ungrateful pieces of ish more than anything else. Does anyone still have questions about why I have that opinion? I didn't say you had to agree with me. I didn't even bring up him, specifically the race stuff with him and his parents. I just said, you see what he did? He sounds ungrateful with his parents. And when he kneeled during the national anthem, there was no, I love this country, but I want it to be better. It was none of that. July 4th came. It's a white supremacist holiday. He sounded rich, pampered, and I spoiled like a spoiled brat. All I asked is, you don't even have to agree with me, but isn't it obvious why I have that take? Very milquetoast comment. And somebody even as talented and as good, and I still have a lot, I'm not going to let this lose respect for her. But then she said he did not say they were racist. And I'm like, okay, so I'll play the video. So maybe he didn't have the exact quote where he said, my parents are racist, but he was going after their problematic. What does problematic mean? It was problematic because of race. So what is it? Racist adjacent? What are we doing? That doesn't even address my question. My question, Sabby, was, do you see why I called them ungrateful pieces of ish? Yes or no? So you got to get in on the race stuff. And you don't even answer the question, a very simple question. His parents have admitted in an interview that they did have problematic behavior. What does that have to do with anything? What do you want them to do? Go to war with him? And I mean, they could. I don't know if it was authentic or not. I have to watch that interview. Problematic behavior. They bent the knee to the woke mob, potentially. What does that have to do with anything? Even if they didn't, even though they really thought it was problematic, it doesn't change my take. He comes across as ungrateful. That was my big takeaway. It's important that you know what they did. Why is that? That's between him and his parents. And it's interesting, we didn't talk about his black-ass dad that left him abandoned. That's the start of the whole problems. So if you don't want to talk about your black dad that abandoned you, that's fine. But if you're going to talk about the problematic behavior from your white adoptive parents, we need to talk about your black dad, the black-ass dad that you had first. If you're not ready to talk about your black dad, then I'm not ready to hear anything about your problematic behavior. What was it? Your white parents didn't want you to get cornrows because they wanted you to be professional. That was the problematic behavior we're talking about. And my point is, he didn't call them racist. They just had racial blind spots. You don't afford that same grace to like Donald Trump or Marjorie Taylor Greene, do you? You call them straight up racists. Now, I don't know about Sam. I'm just saying, I don't know what she calls them, but the people who would agree with the racial blind spots, take it away from Sabby, they don't afford that same courtesy to their political enemies. Colin Kaepernick is their political ally. Why? I have no idea why. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not articulate. He's always got to have somebody with him in an interview. He's done some good volunteer work and stuff with his thing, but he gets paid through Nike, big corporate. I don't know why you think he's your ally, but whatever. You look at him different than Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert. You would have no problem calling them racist. But here it's problematic. It's a racial blind spot. Have the courage to say what you mean. And when you look at the interview anyway, I don't even understand what y'all are talking about. He said racist in the interview. Now, he didn't have the exact quote, like my parents are racist, but listen to how it went. Let me find it real quick here. So she said he never called them racist. Well, what did he call them?
Written with author and University of Chicago professor Eve L.
Are we really going to go with he called their behavior racist, not them racist? Are we really going to go with that?
Ewing.
I love how...
Of course, he always has a handler with him in these interviews. Notice that. He's always got somebody with him. And he doesn't do many of these interviews. He's a phony. He can't articulate his points. That's why when he was kneeling, he didn't really talk about it. Bro, the whole point of kneeling is to bring attention to the issue that you want to talk about. And he didn't want to talk about it.
You depict yourself in this book, not as some big shot hero, but as a shy, insecure high schooler like we all were. I mean, I'm speaking for you, but.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
Growing up, I think still am a pretty introverted person. I hope it's true to form, and that's just kind of how I navigate the world.
It's his true high school coming-of-age story, his journey embracing his blackness despite
That's crazy. When he was younger, he looks a lot like my son.
It's his true high school coming-of-age story, his journey embracing his blackness despite resistance from many, including his white adoptive parents.
I know my parents love me, but there were still very problematic things that I went through. I think it was important to show that, no, this can happen in your own home, and how we move forward collectively while addressing the racism that is being perpetuated.
Okay, so Sabs, help me understand. Who's he calling? Where's the racism?
We move forward collectively.
Collectivism, that is just...
That I went through.
Including
this awkward, inarticulate bruh. And that's not a problem. If you're awkward and inarticulate, then just stay in your lane. You can't be up here like, the country's racist, 4th of July, white supremacist holiday, and then say, oh, I'm introverted and awkward. You don't get both. That doesn't work for me.
His white adoptive parents.
The part in the comic book is his white adoptive father saying, listen to your mother, Colin.
Many.
Why would you put that on the screen? They pay people to do it. Why would you put the father saying, listen to your mother? What is that? Is that the racist part? That they didn't say that was, but it's just weird how they edited it.
Including his white adoptive parents.
I know my parents love me, but there were still very problematic things that I went through. I think it was important to show that...
This is a goofy ass nigga, man. That's all I have to say, man.
No, this can happen in your own home, and how we move...
So it can happen in your own home.
I went through. I think it was important to show that, no, this can happen in your own home, and how we move forward collectively while addressing the racism that is being perpetuated.
By who? Who are we talking about? We talking about your parents.
He took cues from his icon.
I love this part. Allen Iverson. This is something the KKK would be so proud of. Allen Iverson's like the pinnacle of blackness. What? Why? Because he had cornrows, he got into fights, he blew all his money, he could play basketball. Did he like fried chicken and watermelon too? Did he have hot sauce in his bag? Why is Allen Iverson like the epitome of blackness? He's a grown-ass man with a comic book that shows Allen Iverson as this black god. What the hell? The KKK would love that. Stereotypical.
Perpetuated.
He took cues from his icon, basketball star Allen Iverson, who he said wore his blackness like a suit of...
What is his blackness? Was it him being inarticulate? I'm not trying to attack Allen Iverson. I'm just trying to understand why he thought he was black and had his blackness like a suit of armor. Does Ben Carson wear his blackness like a suit of armor? Does Officer Tatum wear his blackness like a suit of armor? Why is Allen Iverson the one that wears blackness like a suit of armor? I just honestly want to know. What part of it what was the part that did it? Was it him getting in trouble all the time? What was it that he could dunk at 6 feet? What made him wear his blackness like a suit of armor?
Armor. And teenage Kaepernick wanted corn
So they have the comic book strips here, a little bit of them teasing him.
basketball star Allen Iverson, who he said wore his blackness like a suit
And I wanted to be that way, to feel that way. Articulate it.
of armor. And
I decided I'm growing my hair out. You're what? And it's his dad saying, you're what? Okay, that's just a normal father-son type of conversation without race. You could be white on white and want to get a mohawk, or you could be black. That had nothing to do with race.
teenage Kaepernick
And then he said, I'm getting cornrows.
wanted cornrows to match.
And then his mom says he's getting what rolls? Maybe she didn't know what it was, or she didn't say, you know, like the N-word with the hard ER is what, you know, she didn't do that.
He's getting what roles? His mom asked.
Oh, your hair's not professional. Oh, you look.
Yeah, the racist idea of she wanted him to get a job when he grew up, or have that knowledge to know that you're going to be judged when you go into an interview, whether it's legal or not, about your presentation. That's the racist thought. So let me go back to Sabs. So I'm just like, Sabs, this is so disappointing from you. He did not say they were racist. Yes, he did. It's so disappointing. Why are you even defending it? And then so I said, his black father abandoned him. We didn't even talk about that. Did his black father wear his blackness like an armor too? His white biological mother gave him up so he could have the best life possible. His white adoptive parents gave him every advantage, best schools, best education, tried to make sure he looked professional, whether you agree with that or not. Me personally, if my son wants to get cornrows, I think my wife and I are on the same page. He's going to go get cornrows. We're going to talk about, you're going to have to make your own decisions. That is going to be something we look at, or people look at in an interview. Like Colin Kaepernick grew up and went to an NFL workout with a Kunta Kinte shirt on. A slave shirt, a story about a slave. He went to a job interview with a slave shirt on. Is anybody going to hire someone going to a job interview, an NFL workout, but it's a job interview with a Kunta Kinte shirt on? No, you dumbass. That's all they were saying. So they try to give him every opportunity, perspective, education, but their behavior is problematic. I haven't heard him say a damn thing about his problematic black father leaving him out there. That, whoa, your black father, maybe he would have given you cornrows if you wanted them so bad. Maybe he would have let you be Allen Iverson. That would have been the black suit of armor for you. He's a grown-ass man still defining himself by Allen Iverson and cornrows. The whole point of me going on that rant is to point out how race turns somebody as smart and capable and good as Savvy Sabs. And I don't follow Maj as much, but I think I would apply that to him too, because he's done great work, Pro 2A, all that. It turns them into just something else. It's a different category. And that's the problem the populists have. They're all in that stuff. And there's no logic. It's all emotion again. Very disappointed in Savvy for that. Still like her. No beef or anything like that. I still watch her show, but that's very disappointing behavior. You're making no logical sense. I can't even have a discussion with you. You're making no sense. Facebook user, wow. How does Biden explain the support of traditional marriages prior to becoming VP? Dude is on record saying wouldn't even be wasting time voting on it since it's not a focus. You know, he didn't get asked about that because he was doing an interview with the White Castle Harold and Kumar. He's not going to talk to anybody credible. He rarely does. You could count on one hand the amount of credible people he's had an interview with. And that was, those have been heavily edited. They kept that bra hidden. Speaking of Jen and Peter, friend of the show, Metalopolis says they had Matt Taibbi on the show yesterday to talk about a good get. Oh, they got Kim Iverson on there, Jesse Ventura. They are like the War Room. Shout out to Jen and Peter. If you don't know, go to Generational Change. It's with a J for Jen Perlman. And it's a great show. It's exactly like It's the closest thing the left has to the war room. And I tell you, the algorithm, I would love to see the algorithm on that channel. I feel like they are being suppressed more than a lot of channels out there. They're a very dangerous channel because they do more crossover than I wouldn't be surprised if the algorithm had stuff in there. Tim Pool has broken through, but who do you see doing crossovers a lot? Maybe Destiny, because he used to mess with Nick Fuentes, but you don't see it that often. It's not in the realm like Jen and Peter do it, where I have Middle MAGA in my name now, and they still have me on. There's not a lot of channels that would do that from the left. You name them for me. Name a populist left channel that would have somebody on that has a website called Middle MAGA. I'll wait. You probably couldn't name more than 2 or 3. So I think the algorithm is really suppressing them because they can break through on the populist left and right and actually bring it together. They're very, very dangerous in a good way show. I wish they would do something with Bannon, to be honest. That would be cool. They are the war room on the left. So if you don't know War Room, all he does is bring on guests. It's not even a Steve Bannon show. He starts the show, and the only time he really talks a lot is if there's no guest at the moment. He brings in local people, people on school boards, and Polsabek, and politicians, and Darren Beatty's, and he'll just bring them in, talk about the topic, heavy hitting, quick, call to action. Jen and Peter do the exact same thing. I think they kind of don't like when I make that comparison, but it's a compliment. And it's the highest compliment you can do. Steve Bannon is the most influential to me and important person in the populist right. I don't know. There's not a bigger compliment I could give. Yep. Isaac Hall said he used his parents as one of the many examples of his oppressions he's endured. He hasn't endured much oppression. And it's interesting how he doesn't mention his dad as a part of the oppression. Why is that? It's a conscious decision. Melopoly, blackness equals good, but we need to abolish whiteness. That's effed up. Yeah, that's a really cool, great point. I didn't even look at it from that angle. The term whiteness has been equated with evil. Not even color of skin, it's just been equated with evil. Blackness, he wore his blackness like a suit of armor. There's no way you would equate that with evil in his eye. It's deep critical race theory, deep neo-Marxism, but it kind of pisses me off because it's like, you talk about Nick Fuentes like he's some, bad white supremacist type of dude, but this guy is the one looking at Allen Iverson as the epitome of blackness. Is that not racist? Or it's just really stupid. I wouldn't look at anybody as an epitome. I don't look at anybody as an epitome of whiteness or blackness or whatever, but if you're going to be in that world, he's a weird one to pick. I really need you to articulate what you mean. Maybe I'm missing something. That was the heyday. I followed him a lot. Maybe he was I don't know. Was it because he didn't like to practice? Is that why? I don't know. There's a lot of, especially with younger Iverson, there's a lot of negative. He grew up and matured, but during that time, when he had the roles and all that, I don't know if he still does or not, but when he had the roles and he was skinnier and could dunk, there were a lot of problems with him. There were more problems than, he was a baller. He was great. One of the greatest hoopsters out there, but he had a lot of off-court problems, on-court problems, teammate problems. Was he because he was a ball hawk? Is that why he was black? I don't know. A lot of questions there. A lot of questions, and you never get a lot of answers. That's why they don't like crossover work. They don't like crossover work because when you do crossover work, you got to answer these questions. Like when I mean crossover, like if Colin Kaepernick were to come on this show, be like, bro, I don't have people on and we're going to have some type of contentious stuff. If you're not on, I'll do that. Just like Nancy P, I've talked a lot about Nancy P. In the presence of Nancy P, I'd be like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. That'd be very respectful. Unless she had a reason to disrespect me in person, I would never be disrespectful like that. That's just stupid. So if I had Colin Kaepernick on, it would be like, okay, talk about your book. I will ask questions, though. You said Allen Iverson wore his blackness like a suit of armor. Help me expound. Help me understand. That's why he doesn't do interviews by himself. That's why he's introverted. He can't articulate that stuff. He's chasing that. His father is black. His father wasn't there. He's got a lot going on. And to me, he's chasing, and he's half white, half black. He's chasing this idea of blackness. And that's how it can manifest itself. And it's kind of sad to see, really. With the gender theory, there's a lot of weird stuff that comes with it. And one of the weird things that comes with gender theory is when you try to justify the points that can't be justified. Here's a doctor that performs some of these surgeries on TikTok trying to promote it. It's very, very weird.
Transmasculine and non-binary patients, you have to stop worrying about binding preventing you from getting top surgery. I've yeeted hundreds of teats, hundreds of tetus deletus, and it has never caused a problem. If you want to worry, there are other things to worry about, like your health overall, like your blood sugars if you're diabetic, like eating well around the time of surgery and quitting smoking. But don't worry about binding.
I don't know if she's trying to get a lot of... TikTok is getting crazy with people trying to get around the algorithm. TikTok is the craziest. She just said,
Transmasculine and...
if you didn't pick it up, she used the phrase tetus deletus as in regards to removing. This is top surgery removal. Is it funny or... I don't know. This is 2023. 2023, we have surgeons, I believe she's a surgeon, talking about yeeting the teat. Yeeting. Do I need to bring out an urban dictionary for... Let me bring up an urban dictionary and let's get this done. Let's get this done so we fully understand what she's talking about. Yeet. So it's yeeting is basically, I don't even know if I agree with the definition. The Urban Dictionary defines yeet as an excited exclamation. No. I don't know if they even have it. Yeet in this context, well, maybe I don't know what yeet means. In this context, to me, it means getting rid of. So when she says yeeted, she means like gone, cut up with a scalpel.
Stop worrying about binding, preventing.
Don't worry about binding. So she's specifically talking about some of the concerns of with this. If you go through this process, it could be a concern. And she's trying to say basically almost like a salesperson. It says the binding part of it is, to my knowledge, is before, let me look that up so I'm not wrong, that it's something you do before the surgery. Binding is an effective alternative. It's only moderately successful. Binding may result in pain. Maybe I don't know what binding is. Let me look that up. What is binding? Does binding affect, if you hope to get top surgery, a procedure to reduce or remove the top, binding frequently can affect skin elasticity and impact surgery outcomes. So I'm still unsure what that is. Maybe I don't want to know any more than that. That's enough to know. So that binding is a bad thing, a concern. And she's saying, stop worrying about binding in top surgery. And basically she's saying, let me yeet the teats.
You have to stop worrying about binding, preventing you from getting top surgery. I've yeeted hundreds of teats, hundreds of tetus deletus, and it has never caused...
Why is that term so funny?
Hundreds of tetus deletus, and it has never caused a problem. I've yeeted hundreds of teats, hundreds of tetus deletus, and it has never caused a problem.
These people are always going after the youth. There's no other demographic you're going after with a selling pitch of yeeting anything. You know, people probably over a certain age don't even know what that means. I didn't know what it means. I had to look. Well, I knew I thought what it meant, but. And nothing like Titus Deletus in the morning.
Teats. Hundreds of Titus Deletus, and it is
Here's the good guys. If they let ChatGPT write the history books, this will be the good guy.
Hundreds of Titus Deletus, and it is never.
If they get control of history, the good guys are the ones that said the term Titus Deletus.
Hundreds of Titus Deletus, and it has never caused a problem. If you want to worry, there are other things.
Just so you know, public service announcement. I grew up with the more you know, the whole NBC things. Now here's the new, the more you know, the more you know. Hundreds of Titus Deletus.
Hundreds of Titus Deletus, and it has never caused a problem. If you want to worry, there are.
And this is the one, and me laughing at this, Dylan Mulvaney will probably say, I'm the hateful one. She's the one talking about yeeting teats and hundreds of Titus Deletus, and I'm the hateful one.
I've yeeted hundreds of Titus Deletus, and it is.
And on top of that, my take is if you want hundreds of Titus Deletus, it ain't none of my business. So my take is if you want hundreds of Titus, I will laugh at you, especially if you're going to put it up on TikTok. It's fair game. So if you want, not whoever, not personal people, but this is obviously the surgeon trying to market to young people with Titus Deletus. So Dylan, is that hateful for you? Can I not look at this and wonder why are you using these terms? Can I question that? And on top of that, my take is if you want hundreds of Titus Deletus and scalpelus, malpulus to your upper regions, then it ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm fine with it. As long as you got parental consent from both guardians. How am I the hateful one?
I've yeeted hundreds of Titus Deletus, and it has never caused.
I'm the one that gets suppressed in the algorithm. Not hundreds of Titus Deletus.
I've yeeted hundreds of Titus Deletus, and it has never caused a problem. If you want to worry, there are.
Titus Deletus, it never causes a problem. I'm sure there are no complications. I'm sure there are no complications with Titus Deletus. I want to start a new YouTube channel called Titus Deletus. The unofficial title of the show is Titus Deletus. It just rolls off the tongue. I mean, it's just really cool. She needs to trademark that before it blows up. Because I think the market's going to be increasing for Titus Deletus. Yeah, it's playing God. It's literally saying, God gave you Titus for us to delete us. And Joe Biden says, it's sinful to not let that happen. There's nothing more 2023 than the term Titus Deletus. Nothing. Well, except for this. IQ could be dropping for many reasons. And this young lady, I think she's a victim. I think she's a victim to our IQ. I'm going to leave it out on this one. She's a victim to our IQ decline in our nation and world. She said I was today's year old when she found out what?
I was today years old when I found out that guys have to go into their doctor monthly to get their foreskin trimmed, just like a monthly haircut. I was today years old when I found out that guys have to go into their doctor monthly to get their foreskin trimmed, just like a monthly haircut. I was today years old when I found out.
If you're wondering what's going on, I'm wondering myself as well. I'm like, do I gotta tell my doctor? I didn't know about these monthly appointments either. Hey, Dr. Smith, I was on TikTok today, and this young lady, she looked like a complete idiot, but just in case, she said she was today's years old when she found out.
I was today years old when I found out that guys have to go into their doctor monthly to get their foreskin trimmed.
I was today's years old as well. We're in the same boat. She looks serious as a heart attack. Just for ladies, if you don't know, that ain't a thing. Do you see why I love TikTok? It's a love-hate relationship. I know it's poison, but I just, sometimes you got to have fast food. She was today's years old when she found out that your banana needed a haircut. What?
Just like a monthly haircut. I was today years old when I found out that guys have to go into their doctor monthly to get their foreskin trimmed. Just like a monthly
You need to go holler at whatever nigga told you that. Because he lied to you. He was doing something else. He needed that 1 day per month to go holler at his side piece. I don't know if she's of age, so I'm not going to be commenting on her. But he probably needed that 1 day to go golfing with the boys just to get the hell away from your dumb ass. I don't know what happened, but because I don't think it's a joke. I think she's serious as a heart attack. We're not doing well right now. I hate to leave out on a bad note, but we're not doing well. The comments were hilarious. Gandoria said, I get a tight fade with a 1 clip at my monthly foreskin trimming. He said, so it's like you go into the barber. You go into the barber and you say, I want a 1 and a ball fade. I was like, y'all doing too much, man. Y'all doing way too much today. They said this is what the guy who told her that looked like. This dude was like, what the F she talking about? It's every other month. Oh, wow. Somebody said only Jewish doctors, though, which is kind of appropriate with the topic of circumcision. Adam B. Coleman, who's good on Twitter, I've interacted with him a couple times. I'm willing to bet she thinks she also needs to change her car's blinker fluid. Brandon Moore says, trust me, ladies, you don't want to see what it looks like when we don't. Joseph Ferris says, true story. Missed 2 months and now I have 5 skin. There's nothing worse than an unruly foreskin that hasn't been trimmed in a while. Did you know you're going to hear about unruly foreskin on the show today? Aaron Milk says, some people need a reminder to inhale and exhale or else they will die. This woman said, gosh, I hope she's joking about believing this crap. This dude said, I've lied about my wife about going to the bar, but damn, this one is the next level. This is next level. Somebody said, does her computer have Google? I hear it's even on phones now. And then Bunny Boots says, Google is lies now. They've been hiding real information for a while. Good point. This person said, this is my take. I guess her boyfriend needs some time alone once a month. And then Bitch Mobile says, can't blame him. Oh, man, I'm out of here, man. Y'all too much. Y'all doing way too much. Thanks for stopping by. Take care.